My fellow Africans, the time is now to come together and to fight against colonial power. Talking about fight, I don't mean using gun, bombs. We don't need to use violence to fight against colonial power. I'm talking about unity. Our unity is our strength. Our unity is a weapon against colonial power. What is going on in Ethiopia, guys, it's not a civil war, it's a colonial war. And it's a time for Africans and for the continent of Africa to realize that, to wake up and to stand with our brothers and sisters in Ethiopia. They can't stand alone. Our unity is a threat. Our unity is a strength. Remember what Nyerere said in 1997, that without unity, there's no future for Africa. If we want to save Africa, if we want to have a secured future, a secured place for our children, for our brothers and sisters, for innocent people in Africa, we need to stand together and to unite. I don't know why you are scared to stand with Ethiopia. I don't know why you don't want to say anything about the current situation that is going on in Ethiopia. I don't know if you're interested in One Africa. I don't know if you're interested in United Africa. But I will tell you this right now for real. If we are not one, we are not going to stand against colonial power. The only solution for us is to stand. And right now, guys, we're about to hit a breakthrough. We're about to hit a breakthrough. I don't know, some of you, it take a long time to understand, but we're about to hit a breakthrough. And I have only one question for y'all. If you're not standing with your African brother, who are you standing with? If you're not standing with Ethiopia right now, who are you standing with? If you're not supporting the Ethiopian government, the government that has been elected democratically, the people of Ethiopia, who are you standing with? If your neighbor is not at peace, you can never be at peace. We can stop what is going on right now by coming together and uniting together to stand with our brothers and sisters. Africa is a place of peace. Africa has been taken advantage of for a long time, for many years. But this has to stop. And it has to stop when young Africans and people from Africa come together, stand together in unity, despite of our differences, despite of our religion, despite of our ethnicity, but come together with one vision and only one vision to see one Africa, a united Africa. I've been talking about this all the time. I've been sharing this all the time, and I will not stop until I see it happens. Until my last breath, I will always talk about one Africa, because you have no idea how many lives will be served just by us being united. I'll say this again. You might be thinking that what is going on there is civil war. It's not a civil war. It's a colonial war. When you see these great nations come together and fight against a country in Africa, it's a time you need to realize that the clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. We are about to hit a breakthrough, man. And if every country in Africa will stand together with the country of Ethiopia, without thinking about how are you going to benefit from this situation, we cannot think like that, because our brothers are not at peace right now. Because our brothers' lives are in danger. I don't know if you pay attention to that. I don't know if you pay attention to what is going on. I don't know if you pay attention. I've been talking to people in Ethiopia. I've been talking to my friends in Addis Ababa. I've been talking to my friends from all over the world, hearing different stories about what is going on right now. And I'm telling you that Africa, if we're not coming together, if that is not our goal, if that is not what we are thinking of right now, we are going to lose. We are going to lose. But failure is not an option. We cannot think or even allow failure to come with us. It's not an option. Being divided is not an option. And I'm talking to you, African leaders who are quiet, with what is going on right now. Our neighbors, our brother, our African brothers, the headquarters of African Union is at risk. What are we doing about it? As African, what are we doing about it? I will never organize people to be violent. I will never ask people to go to fight and to kill some other people in this colonial world. That's not what I'll ask for, because violence is not an answer. It's not. Actually, the person who used violence, it's a coward. Violence is not an answer. Our weapon as African is unity. A united Africa is a threat to a colonial power. Remember what happened back in the days when our ancestors, they were fighting for the independence of Africa. Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere, Kwame Nkrumah, Haile Selassie, Nelson Mandela, and so many, Kenneth Kaunda, so many different great leaders of Africa. They stood together, they unite, and they fought against colonial power. And what is happening right now, guys, it is no different with that. It's just a new version, a different way, because Ethiopia is a strong nation. It's the only country in Africa that was not colonized. It's a symbol of independence of Africa. And if we cannot stand together to protect our pride, then who are we standing for? Who are you standing with? If you're not with Africa, you are against Africa. You cannot have both options. You cannot have both ways. If you're not standing with Africa, you are against Africa. It's a time to come together. It's a time to unite. Guys, it's a time. It's a time to show our oneness. Ethiopia supported African countries during colonialism. While we were going through, we look at Ethiopia and we saw that they defeated Italians. And we're like, it's possible for us as well not to be colonized. It's possible for us to get rid of colonialism. Ethiopia, it was a motivation. It is a motivation of so many African countries. When you talk about independence and so many other different ways, it's the oldest nation, man, in this world, Ethiopia. That's our pride, man. I don't care whether you're Ethiopian, whether you're not Ethiopian, but that is our pride. And I will stand with them. I will stand with Ethiopia, because that is the pride for me as an African, for me as a Tanzanian. And so I'm asking my brothers and sisters in Tanzania that the time is now to stand with our brothers and sisters. The time is now to raise our voice. The time is now to say no more. The time is now to say, let's come together, man. Let's come together and stand with our brother. Because if Ethiopia is not at peace, Africa can never be at peace. So let's stand together. Do something today. Join us. Join in this movement, guys, and let's raise our voice. Let's say no to colonial power. We don't need anyone to interfere African issues. We don't need that, because we are capable and we are able to get to solve our own problem. African problems for Africans. African problems for African. We're able to do that. And we can only do that when we come together and say, we got you, Ethiopia. We're with you in this fight. We got you, Sudan. We're with you in this fight. We got you, Mali. We are with you in that. We got you, Congo. We are with you in this. The time is now. Man, look at the youth across the continent. They're united. They know what Africa means to them. We know what Africa means to us and to our future. And we want to have a bright future in Africa. We want to have the best future in Africa. And we know that we need to be united. So our leaders, please see what is happening. See what is happening. See young people. They're hungry for change. And we want nothing but one Africa. That's what we want. Nothing but one Africa. Lastly, my dear brothers and sisters in Ethiopia, don't be disappointed when you see some other countries or people are quiet about the situation that is going on in Ethiopia. Yes, they might not be able to speak about it, but they're praying for you. We are praying for you. We are standing for you. My wish is to see everybody speaking, but I know not everybody is gonna talk. I know not everybody is gonna speak, but know this, that we are with you in this journey. We are standing with you. We love you, and we're gonna get through this because we are not in this fight alone. God is besides us, fighting with us and fighting for us. And I'm telling you, if God is on our side, nobody can be against us. This war, man, is not about us, but it's about God. This battles is for Him, man, and He's gonna stand with Africa because Africa, it's His nation. Africans are His people. So we are saying no to violence. We're saying no to colonialism. We are saying no to neo-colonialism. We say no to superpowers because we can stand together and we're gonna get through this because our unity is our weapon and is our strength. One Africa, unity will not make us rich, but it will make it difficult for Africans and African countries to be disregarded and humiliated by superpower. Let's be united. Let's come together with our issues, with our problem. We'll solve them other times. But the urgent call for now is unity, is one Africa. I love you guys. God bless Africa. God bless Ethiopia. Stay safe out there. Yo, what's up, everybody? It's good to be back here again and to see everybody. I appreciate you guys for joining the family today. It's another day, day 12 of push, pray until something happens. We're just meeting here to discuss and to talk about Africa, the fate of Africa, the future of Africa. And we are the present and the future of Africa. And also we're praying for every issue that we're facing in Africa. So right before I begin, I'm just going to open up with a word of prayer. God, I thank you for today, regardless of who is joining here today, whether Christians, whether Muslims, whether Tanzanian, Ethiopian, Somalis, Kenyans. It doesn't matter, guys, which ethnicity or religion we're coming from, but we are coming together in one accord to pray, to intercede for Africa, and to talk and to encourage one another, to encourage our brothers and sisters in Ethiopia, in Sudan, and different corners of Africa who are going through difficult situation right now. So God, as we begin this, I just pray that all the things that we're going to be talking about will be building and not destroying. I pray for peace. I pray for love. I pray for unity. I pray for Africa. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. So thank you everybody for joining. Again, I want to remind you that this is that moment that we meet and we pray for Africa. Pray until something happens. And soon I'll be sharing the link in the comment section, and we're going to be coming here and share some different stuff. And I do remember yesterday, first of all, I want to appreciate the team for coming here and for what has happened here yesterday. I was not here, but I was watching sometimes. I appreciate for the team. I appreciate for what they've done here yesterday. And I acknowledge that today they were planning to continue to talk about education. So I will invite team afterwards to come here and to continue to talk about different stuff, if it is education, if it is the current situation that is going on in Ethiopia. And yeah, somebody said pray for you too. I appreciate. Thank you so much. Yeah, guys, we need prayer. Me and the team of OneAfricaForum, we need prayer. These guys, I just want to say this, these guys are very busy. They have their own work that they do. They have their own families, but they have been dedicating themselves pretty much every single day to join OneAfricaForum for 2 hours, for 3 hours, 3 hours and a half, to just talk about Africa. I couldn't be more grateful. I don't know how to repay these guys, for what they're doing, but it's the passion and the drives that is driving them to do what they're doing. So please pray for the OneAfricaForum team, guys who are coming here all the time, and share. This war is not simple, it's not easy, it's something big, something huge, and it's scary at the same time, right? Pan-Africanism, for some reason, superpower and non-Africans, they're very against that, because it's like bringing awareness about how good we are, or bringing awareness about how capable we are to do things on our own, right? That we don't have to rely on loans, we don't have to rely on aids, but we have power, we have ability to do things on our own. We have ability to take Africa into the next level. It's about uniting all ethnicities, all religions, all people in Africa, and reminding them that we are one. So it's a message that it literally tell other people that, we can do things on our own, right? And that Africa is not like the way you used to think of Africa, right? It's that message, and not everybody is happy when you're talking about that message, right? Even the enemy is not happy because he wants us to be divided. But when you talk about unity, it's like you are opening up the doors for war. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, let's remember our leaders, and I appreciate for your prayers. I want to shout out to my people who joined here today. I want to shout out to Professor Ezra. I cannot wait to see you very soon. I can appreciate for Rita. Thank you for joining again. You have been very faithful Swahili Nation member, so I appreciate that. Abdi, I remember you. We spoken today in the previous live stream. Appreciate for welcome to Swahili Nation, because I've seen you for the first time. And this person who said I pray for you, I cannot read her name, but I appreciate you, and I pray for you guys too. Mone Wang, Tiziane, appreciate. Tegeste, I appreciate. Esemu, appreciate. And this guy right here, I cannot read your name, but I appreciate you. My Professor Ezra is there. Ameya, appreciate. Tege, appreciate. CU 011810, I appreciate. Jaylan Allo, appreciate. And so many people. London Knight, appreciate. Nit, appreciate. Yeah, I remember this guy. Hikma YouTube, appreciate. Degetu, appreciate. Sitina, and another name here I cannot read. Jaylan, Echo, Auma, Mawardi, Sebez, Biruk. Yes. Appreciate for all of you that have joined here today. If you don't mind, let me know where you're watching from. I know we have Sweden here. Abdi, I know you are living in Sweden. We have the US here. Professor Ezra is there. I know we have Ethiopia here in the house. I can see. And other countries as well. Let me know where are you joining and where are you watching from. All right, Professor Ezra, you're there. Let me bring you in, because I could use your. Today was supposed to be Professor Ezra. I believe yesterday I was watching and I heard my brother talking about education. So I just want to allow you to come. Ezra, he's going to come here. He's going to be sharing about that. And then after some times, I'll allow you guys as well to come to join the conversation. Yeah, but yesterday we had an amazing discussion. Our Pastor Ezra, he was here. So many names. And they gave me the nickname. They call me the architect. I kind of love that name, kind of love that name. It will be my nickname from now onwards. Professor Ezra gave that to me, so appreciate for that name, the architect. Sounds good. Sounds good. Oh, they're from Jigja. Jigjiga. Oh, wait, Jijiga is Jijiga to Sweden. Shout out to Sweden, yo. So just to remind everybody, the architect, yes, just to remind everybody, guys, Swahili Nation, or One Africa, we are standing for love, peace, and unity. And we believe it's possible to have these three things in Africa. So everything that we talk about revolves around that, around peace, around unity, around love. So whatever you share, whatever you come and talk, always remember that we believe in peace, we believe in love, we believe in unity. And that's what we talk about. So everything. Professor Ezra.
Hi, guys. I'm a little bit sweaty, so bear with me.
How are you, brother?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you guys? How are you the architect? Yeah, your your
Eh?
blueprint is taking Africa by storm, and, I'm so amazed and so honored to join you in this movement that you have put together and then begun to roll out. So I'm incredibly appreciative of you for giving us the opportunity to be part of something like this, something as honorable as this. Okay, and then I think whoever is hating on Africa for wanting to come together, they are hating on themselves. That's just like there's a saying in Ethiopia: when you point a finger, most of the thing when you
Mm.
point one finger on something else, most of your fingers are pointing at you. So it's just it's like when those people who are seeking to dismantle, dismember, and recolonize Africa for some greedy material gain, what they're losing is they're losing their soul. They're losing their sense of humanity, and they're losing their sense of the essence of who they are as human beings. And we are not standing up not just for Africa because that's our cause and that's our call, but we are also saying that. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Mika? Is it? Am I
I can
audible?
hear you. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
listening
yeah.
to
Okay. So,
you. Yeah.
what we're saying that we're not just standing up for the thing, for the cause that we obviously have clearly articulated here. We are also standing for the cause of humanity. All
Mm.
this, the conflict in Ethiopia and the conflict between the West and Africa, is showing the fault lines that have been
Mm.
carefully hidden from from public view. So I'm just crossing the street here. But
Ah, no
so that's
worries.
the point I wanted to make first, and I think at some point I'll get back to the education. But I want to start off by just knocking out one issue here, which is the notion that Africa's desire has anything to do
Mm.
with something bad, some bad intention on our part for the rest of the world.
Mm.
That's not the case.
Mm.
That's far from being true. It's the opposite. In
Yeah.
fact, Africa's desire is a betterment of the world.
Yeah.
And you can't have a better world when you have a whole full of continent, 1.3 billion people just strangled under the weight of poverty.
Mm. Yeah.
The world is not better off because Africans are worse off.
Mm.
It's just like people are just can say that, oh, I can have cheaper electronics,
Mm.
but that the fact that you're getting cheaper electronics on the back of those Congolese that are like being exploited doesn't make you better off.
Mm.
It doesn't guarantee
Mm.
it doesn't guarantee your prosperity. Your prosperity is hanging on the balance by the veins and sufferings of
Mm.
people from across Africa, across the world.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I appreciate Professor Ezra for your insight, and we're still here. And we have Big E. I heard yesterday you gave the name of the voice, Big E. Welcome back, brother.
Yeah, Chief Biggie.
Thank you, thank you. Hello, hello, Swahili Nation, my people, my Africans. This is Eric from, as
Big
you
E.
know, Big E. And yeah, I took the name yesterday, really very surprising, the voice, and then it followed to be the chief. So I'll take anything to make Africa moving forward, you know,
The Chief.
the chief.
The Chief.
Chief.
Igwe.
The,
Igwe.
yes.
So anyway, we had a great conversation yesterday, and we touched on a lot on the education part, and this is where we said, we're going to be talking about it today. And I'm so glad that this this forum really helps us understand uh, all Africans and the way we thinking. One love, peace, and prosperity. We want us to prosper. If you call it successful, we're already born successful. It's
Mm.
just how we're going to use our success to go a leap forward. And that leap will come to the point where we're going to all discuss about it, say, hey, what we need to go forward is educating ourselves, understand our African heritage, understand what our forefathers were telling us to be aware about, because there's wolves out there in sheep clothing. So we need to identify where the minds are, where which way we're gonna be walking. How can we walk like lightning fast, where nobody understand how fast we're going? The only way to do it is through education. I know there's a lot of educated Africans in our community, and they can contribute. It can be history, it can be understanding the weave, because yesterday I called this platform a big quilt that we're
Mm,
gonna put all African nations. It
mm,
can be in education, it can be on any level where we're
yeah.
all gonna strive for this unity.
Mm,
So think about it as being a big quilt that we're putting together. So
yes.
each quilt piece will define what Africa is supposed to be and what we can get her to be. And the first thing is we got poverty. In order to eradicate poverty, we need to come with all kind of resources to
Mm,
educate. The stomach will be fed if the brain get fed. And believe me, all African children. I was saying when I did the presentation for the education part, I said my children are not born yet. I'm putting a path for the one that are incoming, so they will
mm,
have a better opportunity than we did. We all got walked away from Africa from different reasons, because of war, famine, all kind of disasters, man-made disasters, that we had to leave our countries and seek else. And I think I'll touch everybody on this forum. And one way or the other, you didn't like the government, you didn't like what you've been treated, or altogether, you just seek other opportunities abroad. While Africa itself is an opportunity. We have opportunity within our own land, within our own continent. It's just how we're going to be harvesting it. If you don't plant it, you cannot harvest. If it
mm,
is just a natural phenomena, no. We have a phenomena that's going into Africa because it's the birth of man to begin with. He didn't pick Asia, he didn't pick America, he didn't pick anywhere. The birth of human beings, as we know, which
mm,
is also within Western at the same time, the evidence show that's the land of the first human. And yet, we still lacking going forward because we allow others to do so. If we are determined to walk this path, we're going to walk it smart, very understanding, being compassionate for one another, love the neighbor. That's where it starts. Love your children for parents. They're
mm,
growing. They're going to fight you. They're going to ask you. We are always going to be backward because they see a glimpse that's going to keep them going forward. It's not
mm,
that they want to disrespect you. You're the parents. So the education also start within your own home. Educate them the weave of being African. What do you carry? You carry yourself, Africa. You're born to it. And you have to get respect back.
mm,
Respect is by respecting others.
Yeah.
That start with your parents. That start with your sister. That start with your brother. When you start developing this respect and understand that you're walking the same path to be greater and to bring greater things for mankind, because Africa is not selfish.
Yes.
Africa is really generous. Africa provide a lot of things to the world. It's just we become like the usual thing. Oh yeah, they're gonna supply it whether they like it or not. Our resources. It's just, but there shouldn't be no poor man in Africa. There shouldn't be any poor man. You see Saudi Arabia and everything else, the kings and stuff, how they do. Not to go even in that level. Look at Libya. Gaddafi was able to supply and subsidize a lot of things for his people. Education, listen, he sent his top people to Oxford, top universities. So we should be able to have that same privilege because of the resource that Africa has. Because we're getting ripped. They putting us apart because of that simple resource. And the geopolitics is also playing a key role where they're going to blind you on one subject while they're robbing you on the other side. So remember, when you bring an investor, your investor is pretty much an intelligence entity that's going to put the word on you. And that's how Africa got colonized anyway. If they didn't get the taste of the gold, we wouldn't be colonized. If let's say we don't have anything, do you think they're going to be just coming in and taking the people out? No, they've been taking people that are key for that country or for that specific especially on the West Coast, and their chief kids and everything else. So they just take them. So that's what happened. But now, okay, is that over? No, I don't think so. There's a different form of slavery. Okay, there's a different form of colonialism. So I want all the African brothers and sisters think we keep saying Africa unite or united Africa, but if we're not united in mind, heart, soul, and spirit, it's not going to happen. So we start now to rethink our position as being Africans. As an Africans, you have responsibility to all Africans. It's not just your country of birth. You owe it to the whole African nations. I don't want to see any African nation that's going to be hurt by other intruders. And that we have to stand. We have to stand together and being like right now, it's the cause of it about Ethiopia. If Ethiopia falls, there's a lot of other state that is going to be falling. So we need to defend our people and make sure that they get the right informations because information is the key. You get the wrong information, we're going to go the wrong way. So stop putting the hatred when it comes to ethnicity. Okay. Unfortunately, it comes to that point because we got to move on. Right now, this moment is a very pivotal moment for all African watching on what's going on the Horn of Africa. And we have to put our prayers, our togetherness, and this is what Mamali said, get up and stand up. And you have to have the right to stand up, and nobody's going to stop you from standing up. I'd rather stand up and die rather than not saying anything and let the things pass. So this is the time we all stand with all prayers to make sure that Horn of Africa is protected. And that protection is the protection of the continent. It comes to the point, it's a protection of that continent. Remember, when the thief comes, it doesn't care. So we want to make sure we we completely immerse ourselves in our own prayers. Our prayers is the most magnificent thing that we have inherited from Christ and the Father. The Father watches. He didn't create the whole world in different part of the world, but he created the first man in Africa.
Mm.
So as far as I know, the first woman actually that we found is Lucy. So this is the time that we put a lot more prayer and put a lot of pressure uh, toward a peace. We talk
Mm.
about peace. We talk about love. We'll defeat the enemy because
Yes.
he cannot stand that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So this is
That's
the Chiefs talking. I hope I put my word.
Mika, you see
Where
why I gave him the name? See why I
yeah,
gave him the
yeah.
name?
I see
He's
it.
a, he's a commander. He commands.
Yeah. Chief.
Big E commands. Yeah. So chief, it's a term. In West Africa, being called chief is a great term of endearment because it's
Mm.
such a. It takes a lot of wisdom, a lot of
Yeah.
age.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a lot of experiences in life for
Mm.
people to be chiefs, to be appointed chief.
Mm.
Even though chiefs don't necessarily no longer run the show in West Africa, like the way
Yeah.
they used to pre-slavery and pre-colonialism, but chiefs
Mm.
hold central to the culture and the traditions of the West Africa and a lot of West Africa. They are in other part of Africa as well, but in West Africa is so much prominent. And I hope some of our West African friends and brothers and sisters will come in to even enlighten us a little bit on that. I think part of the education also is about knowing our continent and its traditions and history, and it is. There's never been more opportunity, and there's never been more important time like right now to really hammer down on these things that are what we care about, what we value, what is important to us in our
Mm-hmm.
culture, our traditions, our values, our history, our experience, and most of all, where we want to go, which is our aspiration and our vision.
Mm.
Aspirations are our vision. And how do we go about achieving all of these things? How do we go about it? The question is how. We can't answer all the question of how. Okay, we
Mm.
cannot. That is not an easy question to answer. The how is such a very complex and difficult thing to answer. It takes centuries, it takes millennia to answer some of the questions. But some of the questions can be answered now, right now, at this time, at this place. Okay? And one
Mm.
of the questions that can be raised is about education. Okay? I have
Yeah.
been in the education sector for most of my working life for the past since 2005, I would say. Since 2005, that's about what 16 years. I know it's not that much compared to other people who probably have decades more than I have. But the 15, 16 years I've been in education, I've been involved in educations one way or another. I've I've been keenly watching and observing and trying to take a glimpse of an insights about what are the essential and the fundamental problems that education has that we need to resolve. Okay,
Mm.
and I break them into two parts. Two parts. Take note of this. Two parts. The first one is the broader conceptual, philosophical, anthropological, epistemological. An education term is epistemology is a way of knowing, is a means of knowing, and how we know. There's that broader
Mm.
issue that's encompassing that. The first element of it is the broader, like, what is education? Why education? If you ask a lot of African leaders, not just a lot of African leaders, in fact, a lot of these powers that be from across the world that support African leaders in their education policy, you ask them, why do you educate Africans? Why? Most of them don't have concrete, clear, and well articulated response to this question. And it's not necessarily a bad thing that they don't have. It's actually a good thing. That means it's not defined. It's a very
Mm.
undefined answer. Hence, the reason why Africans need to come together and define this this undefined space of education. What is it and why? What is it and why? So the first component of it, the philosophy of it, the anthropology of it, the epistemology of it, the ontology of what we're talking about, it can be answered by asking what is it and why.
Wow.
And
Those
the
terms, man,
opportunity,
I have no idea.
and I have some ideas, but I'm not going to share that with you right now. I have some ideas based on my experience, but I'm sure there's a lot of people who's other version of it. That is one. Okay, that's one component of the education. And and then I hope people will come in and ask questions, have suggestions and comments on this, question that what is education for you as an African, and why do you think that education that you are telling me is the what? What is the what? Why the what? Whatever the thing that you tell me, I want you to really justify it based on your personal perspective, your values, your experience, and your vision, and where you want to go, and all of that. Those are the clues for you to find the answer. The other component, the second part I tell you is the operationalization of it. The operationalization of it is today the education system that you have in Africa doesn't have the what's and why, but it is operational. It doesn't have critical questions answered, but it pretends to have that. How do we know? How do I say it pretend to have that? Country spends millions and billions of their hard-earned earning, even though it's not necessarily as much as they should be spending, but they're spending a lot of money. Tanzania is spending a lot of money. South Africa is spending a lot of money. Ethiopia is spending a lot of money. Now, is what they're spending enough? That's a different question. That's a separate question. But they're spending anyway. But what are they spending it on? They're spending it on trying to fetch. Okay, the challenge, that is the magnitude and size of the Indian Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, all the oceans of these planets. And then Africans are operational. Oh, we want to transfer this to another planet, and Africans are operationalizing it by saying, "Oh, we've come here with a cup to do it." African education is like that. They are operationalizing an education idea, philosophy, practice, ontology, all of the things that they haven't defined. Huge issue. Education is so huge, but we are here with fork and knife. The feast is the size of Africa, but those people prepared to eat the feasts have come with fork and knives. The battle is the size of a planet. The warriors have come with spears and arrows. So with the second part, if it's not coming clear to you, how do you operationalize, which is the how do you operationalize education? How do you operationalize it? So if I come to the West and I ask somebody, what is education in the Western world? If I go to Japan, what is education in your country? If I go to Korea, what is education? If I go to China, what is education? If I go to Russia, what is education? They will give you a clear answer. And if I ask you, why do you have that type of education? They will give you very clear and succinct, articulated answers. And then if you ask them how you doing it, they will tell you, they will put their money where their mouth is. There was a time I took time to calculate. So African education is Western educations. That is poorly operationalized. That's the point I'm making. It's Western education that is poorly implemented. So poorly implemented, the word poorly doesn't even describe it how poor it is. So poorly. Let me give you an idea. This is probably an outdated number. Okay, let me give you an idea of how this poorly implemented is. It's an outdated number, so that means it's not, let's say, 2021 number. But I'm sure people will will forgive me, but the last time I checked, I think it was 2015. This number, Ethiopia was getting about 30 million people at the entry of education, which is early education stuff. Ethiopia was getting about around 30 million children at the beginning of the process. And how bad the operationalization is? At the end of the process, at least 500,000 people get it. When I say at the end of that process, I mean 12 years. So we planting the seed 12 years ago, hoping to harvest, in huge scale. At the end of the process, 12 years later, dropping and dropping and dropping along the way. Some people drop at fourth grade, some people drop at fifths, tens, eights, and then it continues. By the time it gets to 10th grade, the last time I checked, there were about 2 to 3 million of them that survived, that 30 million. Out of the 30 million asked, so their compatriots and their fellow students that started with them, okay? I'm sure a lot of Ethiopians will relate to how many people have, the people that you started with in grade 1, how many of them have reached grade 8, how many of them have reached grade 10, how many of them have grade 12. It tells you the issue and the problem is operationalization of a bad idea. Operationalization of a bad idea. The bad idea is the fact that it's education that's not African. It's not designed around key architectural issues of Africa and African culture and African values. So so the operationalization. So I did the calculation, I think, back in 2017 and 2018, and this is what I calculated. If Ethiopia was to successfully implement whatever education system that they've adopted, even though they haven't answered the first part I was telling you earlier, which is what and why, even though they haven't answered that part, if Ethiopia even implements this bad education and then to succeed at it, they would need to spend at least $5 billion a year. $5 billion a year just on education. To make this bad idea succeed, that's how much you need to put in. Where is Ethiopia going to get $5 billion from? Who's giving Ethiopia $5 billion to achieve this? Who? Nobody. Can Ethiopia mobilize this resource locally? No, they can't. The Ethiopian government today, as of today, the best it can mobilize from what it produces in a given year, which is about $100 billion, I think the last I checked, is about 11 or 12 billion dollars in total. The total budget of the Ethiopian government is about 10% of its GDP, the GDP of Ethiopia. And not most of it, about a huge portion of it is. So, anyways, I'll stop here and I'll let somebody add a little bit on this, and then Mika, and I'll come back with more questions, with more answers. Okay, just give me 5 minutes, and
I really
I'll
loved
be
what you
listening.
said. All right, I really loved what you say. Biggie, you want to jump in, the chief?
Yes. I mean, right now, we need to digest everything that Professor Israel said. I mean, it's big.
Exactly.
I mean, it's so big that imagine with the $5 billion a year for Ethiopia, and imagine other countries in Africa. For me, my basic that I'm talking about when it comes also part of the education is that uh, let me take you back in 1976, 76, 77, when Mengistu Haile Mariam, he just completely said, I want to make sure that my people reads and write. And I was one of the chief at that time to lead this program.
Wow, you were
And
chief.
and actually, the curriculum was math and Amariña, the language, okay, how to read and write. And a lot of people had a problem not being able to read, and sometimes in business sense they lose on their business because they didn't read, It's just somebody else read it for them, depending on who's going to read it for you. They lose on their businesses and trying to articulate themselves. If it is not in writing, it's not there. So the major thing was to fight illiteracy in Ethiopia. So I did that program for 4 years, and I left the country, and I went back 8 years later. uh, my father told me, I want you to bring a couple tuxedo because we're going to be attending a wedding. And so I just said, okay. So I just went and picked it up, and he said, now we got to go to the, once I landed in Ethiopia, and he said, okay, time to go. And I said, wow, this quick? Yep, people are waiting, so we got to go there. So the minute I walked in there, I never knew that I planted the seed, and here I am. It doesn't look, it's decorated, but it doesn't look like a wedding ceremony or anything else. I didn't understand. But I just walked in. The next thing you know, somebody just, please welcome Ephraim, and everybody applauding and everything else. And I'm like, I kind of remember some faces during that 4 years that I spent, the initial. That means I pushed them from first grade to fourth grade, and all these people are adults. It's not kids, it's adult education. And I kind of remember some of the faces, and everybody's applauding. I don't understand. They want you to come to the podium. Then somebody did my intro and everything. I have no idea that my 4 years following through that education and doing my education in high school. So that means I go there by 6, I leave by 9 every night, Monday through Friday. And I was putting this education plan. And on top of that, there's a lot of curiosity from what he said. Some people really, they didn't finish learning Amharic. They want to really learn the English alphabets. I went to French school, so they want us to, they want me to explore, the French part of it. And in all, I had this older guy. He was 74 years old, graduated high school. Okay. We got major exam, sixth grade, eighth grade. He passed that. He passed the SLC. He was admitted to Ethiopian University. In his word, he said, I'm 74 years old. I'm not going to be attending the university, but I want it to be given to somebody, to another young kid that need that university entrance, because he limited in numbers. So I'm telling you that this is the man that I taught him how to read and write. Within 4 years, he went fourth grade, and I left the country. And when I looked at the average that was in that program for my county, there were like 600 something stuck on sixth grader exam. I had about 800 something that was stuck on the eighth grade. And I had repeaters about 400 or so young, not young adults, I mean adults, okay? That really blew my mind. So when I wrote that little summary for Kofi Annan, is that I'm based on that it's perceivable that if I'm able to educate an adult and to come to that level, and with persistence and learning, the comment that I got, no more rip off, I can read and write, no more math, because now I can calculate myself. When I got all this comment, it was so overwhelming. So each of us have the responsibility. If you know somebody that doesn't know how to read and write, please take some time. Just take a little time and plant that little seed. Okay. And on the west side, Western countries, yeah, you get educated, but still there's a flaw, because a lot of parents feels comfortable to home educate the kids because they will educate them better. So where Israel is saying, and where I'm coming, there's a common base for me is the common, let's say, a child that's born today. Okay. Let's take an example. A child that's born today, I want to put a path for him to have the basics when he's reached the age to go to school. and how to give them that understanding. If you have the means, if you have electricity in your home, because all Africa doesn't have electricity. So for us, we put the paving by putting the basics. Necessity is electricity, some kind of power,
Uh,
and that's
can I
where
can I
our
can
education.
I come in, Iggy? Let me come in a little bit. And um, I, wa- I want this to be a very serious interrogation of what we talking about serious. So I'm gonna really push back a little bit on you, not because you represent a different idea or you it's pushback on you, but on the idea that some of the ideas that you said.
Mhm.
There's a notion, and there's a perspective that the education system that we have, the education system that we have in its entirety, not whether it's literacy or whether people go to school, school going, the way the UN put it, the way the world puts it. That let's put that is cast as that aside. The essentialness of what education is and how that idea has been imposed on us is part of the problem. Grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, grade 12, high school, elementary school, university, all of that, all that mechanization, that is part of the problem, is the issue. How do you answer to that?
Very good. And actually, my answer to that is we have to lay a foundation that's going to be a platform where everybody has an equality of reading and writing, the basics. You
But
understand?
do you need Western side more
No,
more
no,
of
no, no,
it?
no, no, no,
Yeah,
no, no.
because that's
Communication.
what essentially what you're
No, no,
saying
no,
is
no.
suggesting this.
What I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah.
You have to when you look at that, the whole Africa, the illiteracy side is so high that really the means
Isn't
of
that the
them.
question is? Isn't that a factor of the fact that we're trying to implement something that's hard to implement?
And, it's not where it's hard or not hard. You know what I mean? It's just where we're gonna be focusing on. What
What I'm saying,
what do we?
it is.
Let's say, for example,
Yeah.
if somebody knows how to talk but cannot write
Yes.
or can be able to read, we have a problem
Let me
because
give
he's
you an
gonna
idea.
just listen. He's just gonna
Yeah.
listen to those that are able to read and
Yeah.
corrupt him the message that he's conveying, the reader versus the guy that's reading for himself, the message is conveyed differently. So
But the thing
right
about
now
it is,
I'm not
you
looking
are,
into the
yeah.
I'm not
But this is
looking into the Western
no. I know you're not.
education,
I know
but
you're not. But
we
I'm just.
want to have our own people. Imagine Africa is very diverse in when it comes to languages and what is being written, what they've been adopting. Like for example, by default, okay, you speak Amharic, but at the same time, you got people that speak Oromonia. That's really another major language barrier among the people itself. So for me, since I love learning different languages, it becomes a necessity to understand that language. When I went to France, I speak French. I went to Italy, I speak Italian. I go down to South America, Mexico, I speak Spanish. Okay, that gives me the basic communication. So within our own African platform, I'm not beginning to go through the elementary, primary, secondary, and then it goes college level. I'm talking about the basics, very
No,
basics.
but that
What do we
basic,
need?
that basic. The point, Chief. The point I'm trying to make is that basic thing that you're trying to do. We are failing at it. And my assertion, my hypothesis, I'm not gonna say it's conclusively fact based. Based
Hmm.
on my experience and based on my reading, extensive reading around this, my understanding is the reason we are failing is because we are trying to implement something. I'm talking about reading and writing, literacy,
Basic, basics.
those basic things. We are trying to implement something that we don't even understand what it is and why we do it. So because we haven't owned it. It's not something owned by Africans. And in order to own it, in order for Africans to have ownership of it, it has to include values and perspectives and experiences, educational and beyond, and beyond educational experiences that reflect those grassroots, ground level, fundamental Africanness. I am of the view that if I do something I care about, if I do something that is in alignment, if I do, when I say I do something, that means I'm doing something that's external to me. Let's say I want to read a book, okay? That is external to me. It's not in my mind, it's not in my heart. If I want to continue to be an avid reader, I have to read, I have to align myself with the things that I read. There has to be an alignment. What is alignment? I have personal experiences, I have personal values, I have personal perspective and all of it, and aspirations and vision, and then the book I'm reading. So let me say, I care about education and I care about the neurons of like how does the brain, how is the brain organized, and how does brain work. So because I care about that, I go out there and look for something that is in alignment with what I care about. It doesn't have to be exactly what I care about or what I believe in. It just has to be in alignment. African people, my notion and the hypothesis I'm placing here for you, the reason that we are failing at literacy is it's not because we don't care about literacy. It's because it's framed in a way that doesn't sync or that doesn't vibrate in African values. And in the context, no, when I say African, I don't mean in a block, one block. You could break it down in communities' values. I could go to Eritrea, the communities in Eritrea. I could go to Ethiopia, across Ethiopia, multiple communities across Ethiopia, across Africa. Communities after communities, they don't feel obliged. They don't feel it's theirs. They just feel like, oh yeah, just executing a command from somewhere. That to me brings you back to the issue of the first thing I said about education, philosophy, anthropology, epistemology of it, the why of it, and the what of it, and the why of it. What is it? If you answer that question, then the next thing you do is like, how do you operationalize this thing that we figured out? And then we can commit. I can commit. I can say, you know what? We will give up spending $500 million on wars because we found something else that we care about, which is education that sings to us, that speaks to us, that is ours. So that's the dichotomy I'm trying to get you to answer, to really confront and discourse, and they really challenge me on it.
But let me get this right.
Okay.
Sorry, let me get it right. I just want to
Yeah.
ask if I'm on the same page with you. So basically, Professor Ezra, what you're saying is that for us to have a system that can work for us and not the system that we are using right now, because basically most of countries, they're still using the colonialism system that it was invented by them, right? So basically, that's your point that you're trying to say, right?
Absolutely. And I'm saying that the failure is tied to that. The failure to implement successfully the imperial and the colonial educational system, the failure comes down to the fact that we don't own it. It's not ours. I'm just out there executing something that is not mine.
In fact, one of the issues.
I want to hear the voice of the others.
Fabric. But at the same time, a lot of people on the comment are asking, what is this topic about? And this is about a conversation that went on yesterday about education and education for Africa and what's going to help us to go forward. And all these questions that are coming in on, I'm just looking at the chat, so they've been asking what the topic was. So I think you can go and go ahead and Mika and say that to the audience.
Yeah, I think before you guys go, we have our new brothers here. We have Abdi. Abdi, he joined me today here for the first time in the afternoon. Abdi,
Welcome, Abdi.
you there?
Welcome, Abdi.
Welcome to the family. Um, in the chat here, we have Professor Ezra and we have the Chief,
Oh,
Big E, right here. Abdi, you feel free to jump in and to share your thoughts about what we're sharing. If you have anything, please feel free to go.
I think I was I was way bit.
your line is cutting up. I don't know if you can hear Mika. Can you hear it?
No, you're cutting a lot, Abdi.
Aha,
Yep.
you don't hear me?
Yeah, we can't
Yeah.
hear you. You can turn off the video if that's causing a little bit of
Okay.
network problems, but
No, actually, Abdi, he's is in Sweden, right? You're in Sweden.
Yeah, I think yeah.
Oh, we can
Okay,
hear
just
you
go
now.
ahead.
perfect.
Go ahead.
Welcome from Sudan. This is our first from Sudan, so incredible.
Yeah,
Not Sudan, Sweden. I live in Sweden.
Sweden. He's Ethiopian,
Oh,
but I
Sweden.
live in Sweden.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sweden. Yeah, perfect.
Do you have
Yeah.
like Swedish passport or something?
Yeah, I work. I am a teacher assistant, so I work in school.
Okay.
Okay.
All
So
right.
your
It's-
education is your background, definitely.
Yeah, it's my profession. I do a lot of other stuff like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, but my 9 to 5 jobs is school. So I work in school.
Perfect.
Wow.
This is perfect.
This is
Okay.
good.
Just,
I'm a
I don't know if you heard. I don't know if you heard at the beginning of these education discussions, I outlined two components that are the heart of the problems. I don't know if you heard, but if you want me to recap on that, I'll be happy to do that. But if you have heard it, maybe you can add. And then also, Biggie also pointed out issues and challenges with literacy and all of that. But feel free to really
Yeah,
chime in, and or even any other issues as
can.
well.
you can repeat it so that I can maybe add on my opinions. on
Recap.
This is my hypothesis. I won't say, because I'm a very science. I respect scientific approach to conclusions. So I have a lot of anecdotal experiences, having spent on education for a long time. That kind of gives me an indication that I'm on the right path when it comes to my analysis and my conclusion and my hypothesis here. But this is the hypothesis I have. The first one is the problem with African education is the fact that we don't know what we are educating and why we are educating. Why that is, because we don't have ownership of it. We don't have the ownership of what and why. The what and why is answered somewhere in Sweden, Norway, or Finland, or South Korea, Japan, America, or Germany, and then we Africans just try to figure out a way to implement it. That's the first part of it. We have not answered the anthropological, the epistemological, the philosophical, the grounds on which we fervently believe in an education system that we have in Africa. That part is the problem. The second part of the problem that we are is about operationalizing the administrative states that we've put together. That is a mimic that mimics the Western approach. Like the Western style. Oh, build so many schools. Build infrastructure, like physical infrastructure, train hundreds and millions of educators in a way that mimics the approach of the West. But I'm of the view that I think that this part is the evidence backs it up. I'm of the view that operationalization, that is poorly implementing an idea that's not ours, is also part of the problem. That gives us a wrong sense that in order to improve educations, we just need to implement, this changes here for 10th grade, that changes for 8th grade, university going age, early childhood, primary education, basic education, literacy. We talk about, like, we hoping that by tinkering on these little things, we will resolve the big problems. Like I pointed out earlier, it's like trying to transfer the entire ocean from one side to the other side of the planet. And the tool that you have, like in the case of Africa, in this case, is a cup. I'm like, I want to transfer the Atlantic Ocean from Senegal to the other side, the Indian Ocean in Somalia. Okay? And then all the tool I have Okay, all the tool I have is a cup. Is the cup I have. And how successful am I going to be with that kind of things in education? So I have evidence to scale to there's a lot of evidence to make to suggest that there's a direct correlation with high capital investment and high education outcomes as seen in the West. So you come to America, the poorer neighborhoods have poorer education outcomes. Wealthier neighborhoods have higher education outcomes because that education system they implement is so closely tied to resources. If you have resources, it's successful, but if you don't have resources, it's horrible. Like as the saying goes, it's better to have no education than poor education. So that is hopefully it recaps for you overall. But I think Biggie also pointed out the implementation issues that are challenging. That challenge, which I kind of categorize under the second part, which is the operationalization of a bad education system. Poor implementation of bad education. If you implement bad education system, well, it might work. But in order to implement bad education system really well, it requires a lot of money. Billions and billions of money that Africa doesn't have right now, cannot mobilize right now. Hence, so you are stuck in a quagmire. That is my point.
Yeah, I agree on almost everything you just said, and I have experienced it education in Africa, especially in Ethiopia, Somali region specifically. And if I compare it here in Sweden, where I studied and I went to college and now working in school, it's like day and night. Although we are not even, realistically going to compare Sweden and East Africa, especially Ethiopia, in terms of education and schools. Here, you go to school and you get paid by the government, something called a CSN. So they give you money if you come to school, but they're not going to pay you if you are like a student that comes like once a week or this kind of lazy. So you have to be present to get the money. So every student's coming to the school every day, because otherwise they're not getting their money. So it's something that they eat lunch in schools, so they don't need to pay lunch. I'm talking about lunch that we don't even eat in our restaurants in Africa. That's the kind of lunch they serve here. And you have like everything you have at home, whether it's Wi-Fi, where it's as clean as your houses. Health care, they have their own nurse. Every school has its own nurse. It's like it's a cool place to be. Like you feel better when you are at school than when you're at home. Like it's that good, And then I think if I compare in Africa schools, I think they don't pay enough. They don't pay enough because they don't pay enough teachers. They don't pay enough schools when it comes to materials, books. What kind of books are we teaching our kids? Who wrote the books? What are the books about? And then there's another thing I have seen in back in home, and I don't see it here. Like back home, you get the books from the school. So like for example, you have 13 different subjects. Every subject has its own book, which is like hundreds of pages, and you are going to memorize all these pages, to be sure you have studied and ready for the exams. That's how we prepare in in Africa. But here they teach you, you get the book, but they teach you in a different way, like practically. Like in Africa, nothing's practical, you know. Here you go to museums, you go to sporting in places. You have like you visit those kind of different your future workplace. That's where you go in as a kid to visit big company owners, how they work. If you are like willing to be an IT engineer or someone like a doctor, you know, as a kid, you start to visit and see how they work, what kind of materials they use, you know, so that you experience already, you know, while you're studying. So back home, you get the books, you read them all day long. You know, I remember my cousin.
Sometimes you don't even get the books.
Sorry?
I say sometimes you don't even have the books.
Yeah, of course. That's what I'm talking about. Sometimes, and so I know some African countries, you also need to pay the school, you know, and some, you know, some parents, they don't even have money to pay. Like, for example, in Africa, you see a family consisting of like 10, sometimes 11, 12. So they have like 8, 9, 10 kids. And then, okay, all those kids are going to school, and you're going to pay, you know, you need to pay the school. So maybe the family's a very humble background, you know, so they don't have, you know, the capacity to pay all the money for their kids, you know. So they look for the cheapest, you know, the most possible school that they can pay, like $200 altogether, like, you know, $20 per each. So that's another thing that makes kids to be school dropouts and start think to be maybe a football professional or something like an entrepreneur in a very young age. Like for me, my mom passed away when I was, I think, 3 years old. So dad and mom are not always the same, you know. So I started hustling when I was 11 years old, and been hustling since then, you know. So it's never been easy. I was a school dropout back home. Then I started again when I came here, you know. So I know how it is.
You know, can I add a little bit to this? You know, do you know?
And before you add, Ezra, Professor.
The Swedish education. Hello? Okay.
Professor, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Professor, I'm saying before you add, can we also try to I don't know if we can relate these things. I want us to try to see how can this education, how can this education we're talking about, do you think there's a connection between education and unity in Africa? How can the education system in Africa bring about unity? I think if we connect to that, because I'm trying to read comments and a lot of people, they're talking about one thing, and that is unity. So I want to feel if we can connect somehow.
Yeah, I can link that up. Okay, in fact, the point I was about to make is an extension of our friend from Sweden, and it would actually, thank you for framing that for us. And I will help to try to frame it in the form of unity. Like I'll just Google it. I just Google. I don't know if you can Google that and then show it on the video. The budgets of Sweden for education. How much they put into this education that our friend is talking about. The commitment on the part of Sweden. And if you Google it, I don't know if you have browser on. Google it.
I can.
No, I'm talking to Mika. Okay. Google it show it to as I speak, so that is not these things. And then 74 billion Swedish krona. 74. Yes, 74 billion. Right? It says about 74 billion. Right? Right there.
Yeah, it says Sweden spends 12,426 per student from primary school to tertiary education.
It's about at the top, the headline at the top it says what?
That's what it says.
It says.
Let me see.
It says here. It says like in this year the expenditure amounted to 74.7 billion Swedish krona. Okay. Which was an expenditure of 83,000 Swedish krona per people. And then a rough calculation of the exchange rate will give you about $84 billion. Okay, that is it. That is Sweden's commitment to the education system they have, whatever that education system is. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with the Western type of education system. I don't even think it serves the purpose for Western powers. The education system that they have is a child of industrial revolution, which is the cause of our climate crisis right now. That said, that's just beside the point. I mean, to me, you go to Africa and you go to Ethiopia. Where can Ethiopia come up with the entire GDP of Ethiopia is about $100 billion. The entire GDP of Ethiopia is $100 billion. So how is Ethiopia going to implement so well the notion of education as promoted by the Swedish? Sweden is one of the big supporter of Ethiopia's education. They are one of the major donors of Ethiopian educations. It's just peanuts what they give us. They give us, money maybe to come up with so-called education policy that keeps changing every day. Every day, a child gets in at the start of the education cycle, and when they get out of the education cycle, the education system started probably with Swedish and ended with Korean. That's how bad it is. So how are you gonna overcome this? And so even the point I was making, even if you want to implement the Western style of education, it is so dependent. This Western style education is so dependent on resources to succeed, and that's why Sweden is successful. Is because for it to succeed, you have to put where their mouth is. The money, the budget, the resources, the mobilization of the resources. So then the question of unity comes in. If we are united, we can mobilize more resources. That's the issue here. If Africa is united, it can have a unified mobilization of educational funding. If Benin has less budget, less ability, because a tiny, small country cannot afford to put the money, the resources necessary to back the education system they have, then because of that unity that we have, because of the unity that we have in Africa, then we will find a way to mobilize resources. It will not be dependent on a small, tiny nations of an African country. It would depend on all the brothers and sisters across Africa to help country like Benin or Togo or Rwanda, Burundi, or even communities in Ethiopia. Somalia, for example, the Somali region. It's an incredible example of, our friend comes from that, and I'm not well versed in the experience of what Somalis go through in Ethiopia and Ethiopia, Somali, or even any part of all Somalis across Africa, and then particularly in the Horn of Africa. I'm not an expert in that, but I can guarantee you that, because of the most Somalis and the most Afar and a huge portion of the Oromia in Ethiopia are, they are, I wouldn't call them, nomad is a very derogatory term, so I wouldn't want to use the term nomad. Nomad is a derogatory. I don't want to denigrate and dehumanize my brothers and sisters who live, who are not settled. They don't settle. They're constantly moving.
No, they trade.
So you have to come up with.
Okay, remember now, when it comes to nomads, they're going from one place to another. Trading.
So, but the term nomad doesn't. It's a very derogatory term, so it doesn't really respectfully describe the livelihood of people. But education system that reflects the livelihood of people of Somali.
No, don't be. Sorry to interrupt you. I'm representing the five different of Somali people. I'm Somali Ethiopian, so don't be scared to say the word nomad, because that's what.
No. I'm not. It's not because I'm scared. It's not because I'm scared. It's just because I know what the word means in English. Okay.
You're respectful. I understand that. I rate
Yes.
that.
So,
Yeah.
but yes. So, but that said, I really appreciate that. But that said, what I'm talking about is, does the education system that we have in Somali region of Ethiopia is reflective of the nature and the conditions and the culture and the context within which a Somali find themselves? Is the education reflective of that? Am I educating young Somali girls and boys so that they can find confidence and belief in who they are, in their culture and their traditions and their history and their experience and their aspirations? And then also, am I operationalizing that? Is the education system I have there in operation? So right now, what they try to do is to force them to settle down. That's what they do. They force them to settle down so that it becomes easy for me to operationalize a bad education system. Why should I force Somalis to settle down and abandon their culture and tradition instead of me trying to find a way to adapt an education system that reflects the nature and the circumstances with which those people find themselves? That's the kind of issue. So the unity part of it, the answer to the unity part of it, we need to mobilize resources, which is for the second part, which is the operationalization of it. But we need to mobilize resources. And the resource mobilization is so weak because we are so divided. But it would be better if we come together. With unity, we can come up with legislations, regulations, and processes for raising funds that normally are not accessible when we are divided. That's the point.
Yes,
I don't know if that answers the question,
Isra,
Mika.
I'm gonna interject on this one. Right now, when it comes, I have a Western education, and at the same time, it doesn't stop me from unifying Africa. Okay, my education, my basic education, whatever that has been instilled in you, there's a system. Okay, I put in the governments of every other Western countries. They'll invest into their future. Okay, the future is whether it's a bad education or not. When you go to college, they're not going to say you're African, you're not going to learn this. It's going to be for Western people. What happened is we're all going to be going through that flow. And to stop that flow, why should I reinvent a wheel that's already there? It's just I got to tweak a few things where I'm going to make it better. That's going to help interweave Africans. So each Africans on this forum is responsible, at least to the minimum, to his country, to the minimum. If you cannot care for the rest of Africa, if you cannot take care of your own people, okay? So, I mean, Israel, Professor, you throw in some serious, heavy words that are really even to a person that is not in a chat or doesn't have access to this kind of conversation to comprehend. For us is to lay a foundation with people that specialize on a different level, because the basic for us, if we infrastructures to begin with, the infrastructure for people to have access to go from point A point B. For us, when you go on the education, is there are people that are grown already.
But the problem is infrastructure is tied to the resources, and resources hard to mobilize. That's the point.
And that's what the
How do
government is going to
you can't
focus. You see,
overcome that. You can't easily overcome it. We don't have money to do it.
right, and let me tell you something. Okay, if I interconnect, the whole Africa via highway, okay, and the highway is going to demand communication, telecom, okay, to get to the bottom, people that don't even have any water, or they got to walk miles to get water. They're wasting their time because they don't have the convenience. They don't even have the time to sit down to think about their life. What they do is, oh, tomorrow there's no water. Oh, so I got to go about a mile to go down the stream, or 10 kilometers actually to get water. Okay. And then all these people that is going to be living in that environment, do you think they're going to be thinking about education? No, hell no. Because I got to live every day. I got to go and do things. There was a joke, actually, people that of convenience. Okay. Yeah, one African guy said, listen, honey, I got to get up early morning. I'm going to do some hunting. I'm going to get some food. Okay. And actually, he told her that was a snack. That was the conversation. But you walk out and you go to convenience stores in here, and you're just going to pick up. One thing the guy was working up is to go to the bathroom. But before he got to the bathroom, he went to the fridge and he looked at it. There was empty, and said, oh, it's not empty, but he just doesn't have what he wanted. So he had to go to convenience store and come back, and he forgot that he had to go to the bathroom. Okay. But at the same time, the African guy is going to stretch himself, is going to try to look for something to eat for the family. Because remember, everybody don't have everything. Some people live out of hunting, fishing, okay? So they have to stretch their day into make their daily life, just basics, right? So if you ask that African, does it have electricity? No, sir. It doesn't have electricity. It doesn't have any convenience. It doesn't have anything that spark in him. So we are the one that had the Western education or not. You're educated about it. We have the science. We know what it takes. Look at Ethiopia. It's about to launch a rocket into space. Okay. Oh, but is that the whole Ethiopia? No. Everybody had a collective contribution into that. But what I'm talking about is if people have, let me tell you something. I used to have a TV with a long cord that's attached to it. If that cord is not there, I cannot use it. But look at it now. Now we got a remote control that's wireless. And then the convenience now, you don't have to get up and get the channel change. Now you have a remote one. So we improve. We have to understand that the Western, the education system, for their purpose, for their own people. I mean, these are the people that live in those Western countries that goes through this education system and how they achieve into getting a tax-paying citizen. And that tax-paying citizen is going to give them this power to say, oh, you know what? I'm going to invest on the future. But Africa, we're not even, forget it. We're surviving, okay? Do not look at the people that are on the top tier that are doing okay. You got a beautiful Addis Ababa, Tanzania has the same thing, Ghana has the same thing. Everybody, or every major city in Africa, they have that glowing things. But when you go inside, this land is so vast, and I'm looking for the kids that do not have the opportunity to have even the basic education. Forget it about the Western corrupted to their own determination, because even in the West, they have their own issues. People are arguing in court. You can see them in Senate. You see them in Congress. Because why? Because they had the basic understanding of education, and they are able to come out of thinking out of the box.
What I'm telling you, BDA, what I think you still are not answering this question. You're not answering this question.
Okay.
Sorry, I want you to answer the question.
Okay.
How do we go past the resources to implement even the basic one? Because it costs money to do that.
We got to be creative into making the money. Guess what? It start collectively. How many people live in, how many people are in Ethiopia? 110 million, right? 110 million people. Okay. If I can tap in 2%, just 2%. I'm not asking. It sounds marketing, but that's marketing. We know the statistics.
Okay, yeah, it's fine.
They take 2% to educate.
Actually,
and you put all the money, everything that we can put on the on
2%. Let's say 2%.
But
2%
where
of
are you going to
Ethiopian
collect the
GDP.
2%? Yeah.
No, 2% of
where you
Ethiopian
gonna get
GDP is about 2% of Ethiopian GDP is about $2 billion.
No, what I'm saying is
Today.
just 2%, right? $2 billion.
Yeah,
Where are you going to
today.
get this $2 billion?
So how do we get to a point where we need at least $5 to $10 billion to in a given year to successfully implement, even if it is a bad one?
Right. Even if it is a bad one, the first thing that you're going to be
It doesn't
looking
matter.
at
Like, so what I'm saying, like the first
one thing
how
I
do
want
you
to
go
do.
at?
One thing for me, that to have a common conversation with all 110 million people. So take it even 110 million people that you're going to pick throughout Africa, and they are rural, remote area. Okay,
Yes.
but guess what? They are future that have the brain that they're not even calculating. They don't even have time to calculate all these concepts and everything else, but they are like a sponge that can get things moving on. We give them an opportunity to work within their own community, helping them, because you know what, if I give you electricity and water, what happened to Africa? Just forget the education part, but it's part of education. They will learn how to
Without
use that.
the lack of
So that means,
electricity, for example,
so
let me
that
give
means
you an idea. The lack of electricity, for example, it means that if you could produce, so there's opportunity in economics, you call it opportunity cost.
right,
Sometimes it's not just the GDP that you're making that's the issue. The GDP that you could have actually made, which we call opportunity cost. Mika will know what I'm talking about. Opportunity cost of Ethiopia having only half the population electricity. What the opportunity cost is it affects education. It affects like the output level of the country. So we could be like 20, 30, 40% below what we could be producing in a given year because of electricity.
Guys,
And because sorry, go ahead.
let me interrupt you. I think that's gonna be another interesting topic that we can even talk about another time, because economy is a thing that I would really like us to talk about, and entrepreneurship, and how business, as a young person living in Africa, where by internet is in everywhere. You have Wi-Fi, you have your internet bundles in almost every country in Africa right now. So I have ideas on how to use, we can also talk about the social media and how you can make money out of social media, and the right way to use the social media, and how our young people are misusing the social media to waste their time, scrolling down all the time, Instagram, looking at some sly queens, So we can have many different topics, when it comes to entrepreneurship, when it comes to economy, and free trading in the continent, or we can start from East Africa and then all the way to South Africa and West Africa. But now I think we have to concentrate on the education sector. And I think our brother should say what he wants and introduce himself first.
Okay. Can I extend a little bit before Ezra comes in? Can I extend a little bit?
No. Before that, Professor Ezra, can I answer your question? Because I want to add insight to your question that you are asking, Big E, the chief. And it's good, Abdi, all the suggestions you have done. We have actually been talking about a lot of topics that you've said, but I think social media is very interesting. That's something that we can talk about, later in the future. So that's a good suggestion. But about your question, I want to share an example of how our ex-president did about education, right? And even though the quality of the education, I cannot say that it's there, like it's not that good. But I remember how he actually found money to invest in education. So I think the biggest problem that we have in Africa, and that is causing us not to have enough budget for education, it's very simple. It's corruption, what we're talking about. right? Corruption is what is causing us not to have enough money to fund ourselves in education and different sectors, like transportation and infrastructure, and and everything in general. If it's education or health sectors, it's that. So our president, what he did, I mean, the ex-president, what he did, he knew that there's so much corruption in TRIA. TRIA is like the tax revenue something association, TRIA here in Tanzania, and he found out that a lot of people, a lot of investors, like foreign investors that are investing in the country, they were actually not paying the taxi to the government because somebody else was just taking money behind the scene, and he found out a lot of billions of dollars they were not paying. Yeah, a lot of billions of Tanzanian shillings they're not paying taxi for many years, for like more than 15 to 20 years that I've been here. And not only that, but so many ways, so many people, even here in Tanzania, they were not paying taxi. Like taxi was something that people, they were not like, they're not concerned of, because there were always some people who were taking money from behind. So when he got here, he got rid of corruption in a high level, to the point where every single month, when you look at the revenue of the country, it was a lot of money, and all of this money was coming from the tax revenue that they collected. And that's what it caused. Within 5 years, guys, within 5 years, Tanzania, it was in lower like income, but within 5 years it went all the way to middle income, and that's where we are right now. And that money, you know what he did? That money he invested in education, and right now there's a free education from elementary school all the way to high school. And when you go to university, then government can pay for you, can give you like a funds. If you like do really well, they can always give you money, but then you return when you start working. So within 5 years, everything changed. Education people, they were able to go to school for free because there was so much money in the government, and everybody was surprised that, oh, do we have this like, where does this guy find money? But he knew the channels where people, they always took money, leaders always like took money away. He knew all these channels. He knew in the ports here in Tanzania, the taxi revenue, all this corruption and government expenditures that, you find out that if president is going to United States today, he will leave like with 100 or even 200 other workers to go there, using the government money to actually just go there to maybe to the UN conference or something. So all this thing, he cut them down. He cut them down, and he even cut down some celebrations, like um some celebration. Like, we had so many celebration, even Independence Day, the day of Independence Day. He was like, we are spending billions of Tanzanian shillings to celebrate Independence Day, but we are still struggling with the poverty. So we gotta get rid of this independence. Like, we'll still have Independence Day, but we're not gonna spend any money in the government and organize all this big celebration and spending government money. We're going to use this money to spend in the health sector, in infrastructure, and in education. Up to this point, that's why even after he died, a lot of people cried. Even myself, I'm still crying right now, because the Tanzania that like 5 years ago is not the same right now. When you look at the infrastructure, there's a railway. It has been built, like it's going really well, right? The fast gauge, and then you have like some bridges across the ocean. Like we have one Surrender Bridge right here. You have like airports from like in every city. Airport were being able to be repaired just within 5 years, right? And so many things that happened within, and even the Tanzania like airlines. It was dead a long time ago, but this guy he revived it, and he was buying a lot of planes. We have like almost 15 airplanes right now. Something that it seems like it was impossible before to do, but the guy, he did within 5 years, because of all these government expenditures that he cut down, and all these corruption channels that he cut down. Right now, I don't know where we're gonna go, but this is one of the examples. How can we find money in all these different sectors? Because I do believe our countries are very rich, and we have money. Like money is there, but then there's only few people in some countries that are benefit from the money, from the government money, and they're spending a lot of money. A lot of politicians in Africa, they're the one that are rich. Like people, they want to go, like they want to become leaders of the country just to get rich, and not really to serve people, and not really to take care of the issues that we're facing. Like it's the easiest way in Africa to get rich. You just need to be a politician, right? So I think if we cut this channel, and I know it's not easy cut down, corruption all the way to the end. But if we fight against this to some extent, I think we'll be having some money to fund all these new ideas that Professor Ezra is suggesting. It's just my thought.
To me, it bolsters the point I'm making. The education system we have, even if it's a bad one, even if it's when I say bad, like it doesn't fit us. Let's say even if it doesn't fit us, it's not contextual. Let's say it's not contextual. When I say contextual, it doesn't really appreciate the context within which the learner find themselves, the locality of education. It's the nature of epistemology. Epistemology is broader global knowledge. When I say global, I don't mean the world. Global, I mean in the universal nature of it. But there's also localized knowledge, localized experience, and localized perspective and localized values. So even if the education system that we have doesn't take into account, even though let's say we are just superimposing the Swedish one, what Tanzania has proven that if you back that with resource, even that will give you results. Even if it's bad. When I say bad, I don't mean it's bad, like bad for us.
Exactly.
Bad in the sense that it doesn't represent us. Even if it's just bad, it still works because you put money to it. So the correlation between when I say correlation, I don't mean direct relationship, but correlation between the relationship between resources on one hand, and the education system that you have is so direct, so close to tied to each other. Even if it's the education system that you have is bad, if you have good resources to it, you have a higher propensity for success. So I know sometimes it's hard to comprehend some of the things I'm talking. Yeah. I'm talking from a perspective of experience and expertise. But you don't have to have an expertise and experience to understand some of the things I'm telling you. So what I'm telling you is that what I'm trying to tell you is that which is what I want to be an offshoot of an incredible idea that our friend from Sweden, I didn't get his name properly, so I don't want to miss. Can you tell me your name again, please? Sorry.
The easiest Somali name that you can hear, Abdi.
Abdi. Oh, Abdi. Yeah, it's so easy. Yeah, I didn't hear it at the beginning, so that's why I didn't know. Yeah, Abdi is so easy. Yeah, Abdi is. By the way, is an incredible name in Ethiopia. By the way, so it's a famous name across Ethiopia, not just in Somalia.
You know Abdile?
Of course, Abdile, but you're not Abdile, are you? Yeah. So to extend on, what are you proposing? You asked me, Isra, what are you proposing? I send you some of the things that we developed for the school I built in Addis Ababa. I sent Mika an image of the kind of education framework we developed with what I'm talking about in mind. What I want to do, what Africa should do, is that if we figure out the philosophy, the anthropology, and the what and why of what the education system, what we will get to is that we don't always have to have 1 to 12. We don't always have to have these 14 years of going to educations. If somebody is enterprising, if I find out this 4th grader is so enterprising, it doesn't mean that person is that enterprising personality. What it's called inherent humanity. This is inherent. That means that person is naturally predisposed to be an entrepreneur. That's what it means. Entrepreneurship, one component of it is your personality, your characteristics. So what I would do is that instead of wasting my resources trying to get that person to finish through something before we go into entrepreneurship, I will find a way to really use new methods like technology to circumvent these infrastructural challenges that we face. So I want to circumvent, go around this issue of resources by coming up with shortcuts that achieve the quality you're hoping for, that achieve the personality and the characteristics you're hoping for from a learner, okay? That also achieve the content goal that I have for my learner, while at the same time leaning on and capitalizing on that person's personality and characteristics. If that person has a natural predisposition for language, I will push that person in that direction. If that person has a natural predisposition for farming, agriculture, and nature and ecology, I won't waste time trying to mobilize resources to get that person on the right path. So I will innovate. So one of the things this morning I was in a project. So we started this education was computer science, entrepreneurship, and leadership and communication bootcamp for kids in Dredwa, Jimma, and Bahardar. We have about 40 kids that we work with every Saturday morning. We have sessions with our students from across Ethiopia. These are young people. We brought together educators that don't necessarily have to be next to them. That's innovation right there. Educators that don't necessarily have to be there. I will talk about this framework for you in a bit. But education that does not, so educators, so my friend from Sweden, Abdi, okay, I can tap into him without having to mobilize him in this expensive venture of transplanting him to back home, making him have to leave all his, all his setup in Sweden. I can just tap into him for the very specific expertise that he brings to the table. And somebody in Lalibela, somebody in Gode, somebody in Walaga, a kid in Adigrat, all these kids, all at the same time, can be having direct interaction on issues of education that is important to them. And so I'm circumventing these shortcuts, these stumbling blocks standing in front of me, which is like, in order to implement this, I need a lot of money, and I don't have a lot of money. The chances of me getting a lot of money in the next 100 years is very low. So what do I do? How do I innovate? Use the technology that we have in the 21st century now to circumvent. And then I would challenge my kids, my students, the learners, to figure out, how do I learn better in the era that I am? How do I use social media? How do I use the technologies that are available to us? So one example I can give you, we can have, let's say, AI, machine learning and AI, artificial intelligence and machine learning tools that recognizes the individual nature of the learner, and deliver materials, content, and learning experiences that speak to them. Hence, I don't have to have a classroom in the physical sense anymore. You can imagine how much it costs. I think it costs about 10 to 20 million birr to build a school in Ethiopia. I can do the education with 1 million birr.
Was
without
that
necessarily
dollars?
having those physical place. Yeah, no, birr. I think it's birr.
What's that?
10 to
Was that in US dollars?
in
Like one million
birr.
birrs, like
I think it's in birr. Oh, probably in dollars, because I know the birr I know is 3 years ago, so it's probably different right now. Sorry,
yeah.
the exchange rate has changed, so probably somewhere in dollars, between somewhere 1 million to probably 10 million, somewhere a range of 1 to 10 million. Let's put it that way: 1 million to 10 million dollars to build the school. But I can achieve, using technology that we have today, I can achieve individuated and community learning. Two type of learning. Individuated, that means individual, and community learning, that means the shared learnings. And I can execute and operationalize learning like that by innovating it. So I can have a teacher, and so this is the best teacher could be in Addis
Professor
Ababa.
Israel,
So
this
yes,
is the thing. This is the thing that I was telling you, what I presented to UN,
I
and
know you
how
told
to
me. Yes,
get,
that's yeah,
and
yeah.
it's all the fact, including the how to bring electricity and all that, and how to use your own local resource within your own local guardians, put them that way. The 10th grader that cannot achieve to go to university, they had a different opportunity using this program. So what you're saying is like, yes, we can do that. But now, I'm talking about 1992 versus now. I mean, we're talking about a whole different ways of doing things when it comes to get the basic education, because
Yes.
we are Africans, and we are really. I just want to bring this topic really toward our African unite conversation, because each African countries, each individual is responsible when it comes to this kind of progress. So this is the message that I want to convey, that Africa, Africans, Africa is African, and I'm probably going to take. I'm going to take. Dr. Abiy's quote, what he says, you're born Ethiopian, you die Ethiopia. You understand?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yes.
So you're born African, you die. as Africa, because you
Yes.
laid out the foundation. So our
Yeah.
education, I mean, this is not something yesterday when we talked about this is not
Yeah.
something we're going to finish conversation on one, but how to weave this thing together. Professor Ezra, as you said it, these are the very short ways of doing certain things. There's a lot more shortcuts because even the Western education, they want to reform the education, but there's
Oh, but they're struggling
listen,
because it's
there's
so big.
corruption.
Hmm?
Again,
Yes.
Mika put it, corruption. You think corruption doesn't exist in the Western world? It's even bigger.
Oh, it's not
Yeah.
reported.
So,
You
yeah,
just say
and
it's not reported.
believe me, when you're talking lobbyists and all that, you got a lot of people that have special interest on whatever they want to do, and at the same
Mm.
time, do you think they're gonna care about the little African? He's not even born yet. My little boy is not born yet. My little girl is not born yet, and I want them to have a better life than we did. So we do the grunt work. We're the one that
Yeah.
really so-called we got education and how we can convert this energy and this power that comes from above. We are here spending this much time. That means we are in a cause that's going to educate our own brothers and sisters and have them their way of the way they see Africa, the way they see he's got a little hut. Now he's got electricity. Now he's got water. Now he's got time to think. He's got time to get better things. I can give you examples in the different ways on how an Ethiopian guy that really challenged the telecom. He went to get the scrap, and he just read and read through the whatever that he read on his minimum education. He ended up by having a whole community having a little phone, but he used the recycle items. So Africans are smart. I'm telling you, we're born smart. Again, on the spiritual level, we're the first man. And guess what? We're always going to have a firstborn. We're always going to have another born. This is how we can help. Now, I'm
Bro,
so happy that we have this conversation
Yeah.
on education.
and
Believe me, it's going to give a lot of people different flavors. Oh, they're going to be thinking, what can I contribute to this? So we got
bro,
a lot of people that are specialized in different domains. So I concluded in my conversation right now.
bro.
Right.
Sorry, I just want to ask a question. When you say Africans are born smart, I don't really agree. I think I might be wrong, but as long as I can see, I think in terms of IQ, we are not the best. We are not the highest rated in the world. I'm talking about the continent of Africa. I'm talking about the blacks in America. I'm talking
You know
about the
why?
blacks.
According
You
to
know why,
who?
though, Abdi?
What?
You know why, Abdi?
Um,
Even the Westerners will tell you why it is. Even white people will tell you why that is. Because IQ was developed to assess a different context of a learner. So the philosophical undergrounding of IQ is now has been disproven as a measure of learner because it doesn't accommodate context. So IQ is not necessarily inherent alone. IQ, when I say inherent, that means it's not just in your DNA. IQ is also part of environmental, like the environment within which you find yourself. So when you are an African American growing up in America, and all you've experienced is violence, your IQ to kind of like move that directions, and then your
Yeah,
understanding and appreciation of the world, and the way you calculate things, the way you analyze things, the way you process informations is framed that way. So now, today, even Western powers, even in Western countries, they don't rely on IQ. They've come up with EQ, what's called emotional intelligence, and other. There's 4 different type of Qs out there, and we know that like it's not a reliable measure of somebody's intelligence. Well, I think what Biggie is trying to refer to, I don't want to speak for him on his behalf, but I'm sure he can speak for himself. What he's referring
yeah,
to is inherent humanity. Inherently, as human being, I don't think just it's an African thing. It's just inherently as human being, you're born with intelligence. What you do is that the environment either suppresses it, dislodges it, or superimposes on it, and it confuses it. Then, as you grow older, it's much harder to really connect to that inherent intelligence, you're connecting through all this noise that stands between you and that person. And so it's hard to get to the bottom. So that's the issue here. And I think I want to hear Ezra, by the way.
I think, bro. Yeah, I think first I want to joke with my brother, Mr. Swahili Nation, Mika. I didn't know you were Tanzanian. You know, mpaka lini nyinyi umeanza kuzungumza Kiingereza bana?
So Swahili Nation from Somalia and Ethiopia.
Since when did you start? By the way, I speak 5 different languages, so
Since when?
That was incredible.
Since when did you guys Tanzanians start speaking English? Because they usually gossip that you don't speak English in Tanzania.
No. We learn. You know, when you go to middle school to high school, we learn everything in English. So our education actually is in English. Only in primary school we study in Swahili, and we study English as just a subject, one subject. But when we go to middle school and high school and university, we use we study in English everything except Swahili subject.
Yeah.
So most of Tanzanians, they actually understand, like they can hear, they can understand everything, but it's a little bit difficult for some of them to speak because, again, of the system. Even like, anyways, we don't practice much because we speak Swahili. We use Swahili all the time.
Yeah, shout out to Tanzania, by the way. One of the best transportations in Africa. I think it's if not the best, by the way. And I know that I research on Africa, and one of the best, transportation is in Africa is Tanzania, and well done Tanzanians. Don't stop it, and don't cry for the late president, because there are many other Tanzanians. You could be one of them, that can take the work forward. And next time, if you get the chance to vote, please analyze, do a research for whom you are voting for, because that's it's the most important time, and that's the time you need to vote for the right person, and then that right person is going to do something for your children and their children, where it's education, whether it's and the health, sector, and anything that we need, in our daily basis. But for I think we have to give a chance. Our brother is just listening us very politely. So
he's a co-host, by the way. So
you guys have been, actually is the reason why we are doing this education, because yesterday Pastor Ezra, he was here and he was leading us into an amazing discussion, and they decided that they're going to talk about it today. But we are almost nearly the end, but I want to leave the room to Pastor Ezra. Pastor Ezra, this is your place, and welcome again. You look amazing today.
Yeah, he does.
Thanks,
Welcome, Ezra.
It's your flow, man. And even if you wanna close as well, because I think this could be enough for today. But you can go ahead.
A very
My apology, guys. I'm just about to drop off on this conversation. Brother Ezra, it's good to see you.
Okay.
Pastor, everybody else that did a great conversation in here. I love every subject that we bring in, and our brother that comes in from Sweden. I really appreciate that, and I really thank you. And I've tried to follow up because I'm about to leave somewhere and get something done. And I love you all. I love you all. Much
Didi,
love.
we love you. We love you,
One
Chief.
love.
We love
One
you.
Africa. One Africa.
One Africa.
Africa.
One Africa.
Thank you.
One Africa.
Thank you. One Africa. May God be with you, the Father, the Son,
You
and the
too.
Holy Spirit. Be with
Amen.
you.
Amen.
Thank you.
You too. Somebody just commented here. This is one of the big support of Swahili Nation as well. Appreciate for the super chat, by the way. He said more than 90% of daily home products such as AC, bulbs, phones, motors, oil, etc., were and are pioneered by all blacks. So our IQ is magnificent. That's just to, I think, to add to what,
It's an answer to
what
Abdi.
Professor Ezra was saying.
I don't
Yes.
agree. I don't agree, but it's a good thing to know. Thank you for the information, but I don't agree. I'm going to continue for my research on that point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
continue to research.
Yeah. Definitely. So, Pastor Ezra.
Yeah, familiar. But you talking about it's one of the most interesting topic that I think we should have another part two, somewhere maybe during the week, if not tomorrow, about education and how Africa can uplift itself through education and change the narrative of Africa and change their lives. I think there's many models of how other nations have education, how it has helped them and how it has helped develop their countries. Currently in Africa, if you look at all the nations that let me not say most, or let me say some countries, how their models that they use to take people out of poverty. For example, they don't really focus too much on your more academic streams, your masters. Those things are all good and stuff, but you can have a few people with masters, your PhDs and all that, but they focus more on trade skills, because even if you don't have a high school diploma or your certificate, but when you learn a trade, you're more likely to become, you can work for yourself, you can start a business. You've got two opportunities, unlike now, whereby sometimes other Africans feel that they are limited to progress because they'll say you don't have a high school certificate or you don't have a diploma of some sort of an engineering. But there's a trade that you can learn and do that can also put you inside the engineering sector, you know. And then for the researchers, you go for the guys with your masters, your guys with the doctorates, your professorship, and all that stuff. That you can leave it for them, but the guys that can do this, the artisan work, we need more people that can. Because if you look at China and them, for them, if we're talking about manufacturing, we want to need people with trade skills and artisan work in terms of either engineering, IT, you name them. Those are if we really want to industrialize and be part of what somebody says about the 90%, really where we can also have ownership. Because one of the things that shadows black people's excellence is not having ownership in terms of the so-called innovation of industry. You find that somebody work for IBM, you're working for
Lost the pasta.
Oh, South Africa's internet.
It's the pasta from South Africa.
Yeah,
Wow,
South Africa. I see.
I was just listening to South African music. I love the music.
Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry about that, guys.
So back. Okay.
Just had to reconnect. I don't know what happened here to my fiber now. It just went AWOL.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, as I was just saying, if you look at if we are to really develop Africa, we have to look at other industries. We don't just focus on just the obviously basic education is important. Learning how to write and read. Those are the very basic that we as education that we need to start on. And then once we have that in place, then we can now go into trades. Not everyone will go into the academic stream of studying further, doing research and all that type of work. Some people are not into that. Other people, they just want to create things. They want to work with their hands. That's the people that if you want to put people in the factories and stuff, that's where the trades and the artisan work comes in. I can make an example in my country. Many people sometimes they don't really, as much as yes, there was apartheid, there was other really sad things that were done to oppress other people of color. But do you know that the people that orchestrated apartheid, like the so-called Afrikaner people, right? People with their Dutch descent and stuff. If you look at their model, do you know that They were very poor. They were very poor before. They were some of the poorest people. They were in Africa, yes, they settled in Africa, but they were a poor community. Most people, they just thought the white people just came here rich. They were very poor. Some of them were persecuted Christians in Europe when they
Yeah.
came to Africa. It's not that they came here smiling to colonize Africa. Others, it was really they were not feeling happy in Europe. They had to come to Africa, and Africa hosted them. So that's why even some of the Africans, they believe they were the chosen people because they came here with nothing. They struggled so much. They were killed by even the British when they had the British and the Dutch wars. They were killed. There were children and women killed by the British soldiers. But the one thing, as we are talking about unity, they united as the Dutch people. And then the Dutch people is not just the people of Netherlands descent or Dutch descent, but there's also people from the French descent that were also persecuted in Europe that came into South Africa as a sort of a refuge as well, to running from the persecution there in Europe. And they became part of the Afrikaners group, what we call Afrikaners today. What they did was they had to unite for themselves so that they want to build themselves up. Hence, when they got the chance to be in power, if you look at all the old suburbs in South Africa, for example, during the apartheid, one thing you'll never miss in any suburb or any what do you call it? Not necessarily really suburb, but any area, there's a school, there's a church, there's a park. Those things in South Africa, if you go to all neighborhoods, things you can't
Three
miss,
things.
you'll find three things. They made sure, and also because they believe that God helped them. That's why in every area, if you go even the small towns where they've also settled before, there's the three things you'll always find: a school, a church, and a place for recreation, because your mind needs to be stimulated. It's not all about working and just, you need somewhere you can go and chill and relax and just detox from everything. So those are the three things that they did. But besides that, they told themselves that education is their priority, and also obviously they nurtured their belief system that, you say, no, we'll protect this at all costs. And one of the things that they did was they created groups, and they also built institutions, companies, and say, we'll have this business, we'll have an insurance company, we'll have a mining company, because by then in the 1930s and 40s, the African and white people were poor. The British were the ones who were high and who had the money, and some of the people will normally go back to Britain, and some will be here. But they were the poorest white people. So what they did was they made sure that they want to build institutions that are going to cater for them. They will have an insurance, just like they almost took the sort of so-called Jewish type of system, where they say we'll have an insurance company, we'll have a bank, we'll have an agricultural. They have agricultural corporations or unions where they can share knowledge among the farmers. That's why even now today in Africa, in terms of some of the best farmers that are needed even worldwide is the African farmers. Even Australia wants them, and so you can come as a refugees because they believe to be persecuted and whatnot, because they must, and South Africa is not an easy. It's not like in many other countries like your Congo where there's so much rain, so much greenery. It's a hard land, but look at how commercially they can farm and export some of the food all over the world. But besides that, they had things in industry. They made unions and say we share knowledge, agriculture, mining, every sector. They didn't leave themselves and say, no, those are just for, because they knew that we need to be strategic. We need to be in any industry. And that time, mining was mostly run by the British. The Anglo Americans, that's how they were founded. All these companies. And if you look at some of the big mining companies started in South Africa, you know, but today obviously they are
The
now
board is it the
multinational.
board? Is it the board?
The Boers, yeah, the Boers are the Afrikaner. So if you look at how
Yes.
their models, how they made sure that they're trying to develop their society and their community because they knew their struggle. Like now, what we're doing, we are also looking at our problems as Africans. We are seeing that no, we are not where we're supposed to be. Those are the things that we reflect and say, okay, how do we take over? We cannot just say, yeah, yeah, these guys need to give us shares and what? No, there's many ways. We need to look at what are the trends. Like now, for example, if you look at one thing, I was also just looking at how what made other nations great and what made other nations grow. Like China, they took when the peak of manufacturing came, the China took they aligned themselves with manufacturing. Besides that, they have a lot of people. The labor was cheap. They looked at an industry that was growing, which was manufacturing, and they said, "We'll go to this thing. We'll invest so much in this industry, and then we'll take that part." Like now, if you look at the trends, you look at the industries that are growing, the artificial intelligence, the IT space, for example. As Africans, we need to look, okay, we need apps. We need apps that are for Africans that can solve our own issues. We need to invest in them. We do not have to stand behind and say, we'll wait for other people. We need to be aligning ourselves. And the resources part, yes, there will always be those issues, but we need to be aligning ourselves in any industry. That's why many nations they took a path that will help them. Even South Korea, how they looked at themselves, they saw that we don't have a lot of minerals. What is it that we can do? We can sell knowledge. Let's go for industrial knowledge. That's why they have a knowledge economy. They're coming up with solutions. They're building things that are done in mining, their excavators, your tippers, so many things that they do via Hyundai and other companies that are there. So things like that. As Africans, we need to look and say, okay, where are we lagging behind? We need what? Insurance companies. We need, and
Asta.
another thing it was the government supported them because it was their government. As black
Yeah,
government,
apartheid. Yeah.
like for example, in South Korea, I think it's a norm to see a Hyundai, a government official driving a Hyundai car. Am I wrong, Mika? I'm not sure, but Mika, yes.
Kia, Hyundai, and yeah.
And also the big companies, your Samsung, they were supported by the government to become this big today. They didn't just blew up and independently,
Yeah,
Some form of
absolutely.
government was aligned. Before you can go and say, I'm going to buy a Mercedes, there's a manufacturer in my country, I need to support it. And in every country, your biggest buyer is your government. It's not the private sector. Your government is your biggest buyer in any country. Before any private sector can say, we have so much, we are worth so much. Even the big multinationals are not investing like the government. Your government is your biggest buyer in your country. If your government has project, all the project, the roads, the infrastructure, it's all government money that obviously will take from tax and whatnot. So as we're developing, we need to look at what are the things that we need as a country, and things that we need. Like for example, one of the things when the Africans took power, for example, they knew that they looked at industries that build a nation. I think I once shared this. They look at a steel company. They created a steel company. They created an oil company. They created a cement company. Those were also helped by the government. They knew that even when they were under sanction, that's why South Africa never collapsed economically, because they had all the industries that run a country. They didn't need to buy something. Even if you say you closing, you saying you ban all cement to come out. We have a manufacturer. We can do our own cement. We have our own steel that we are doing. So that country, you cannot really kill them. They knew that oil, they don't really have oil. They took coal and produced oil from coal. You understand? So things that
Yeah.
that really we will need to focus on. If we are building, that's why now the Chinese can come and say, "I'm building you a train." The whole supply chain, you find that they've borrowed you money. They are manufacturing that thing in China. They're securing jobs in China. They are
Yes.
buying, and we still owe them. We still owe their government, and the whole supply chain is all the Chinese, because they'll tell you don't have a steel company, you don't have a manufacturing for trains, you don't have this and this and this and this. So things like that, where we need to look at how we can also be part of the global economy, instead of just fighting for this government, this one is doing that. Like things that we can come up with solutions to say, we want to do this, we want to focus on this, we want to build on this, because all
Yeah.
these things, and it's part of education. People think industries are just a standalone. There's no education there. There's education. Like for them, for example, taking people to when you're taking your people overseas, with the government of Botswana, sometimes some of the things I like about their government is they take their people outside to learn. Pilots, I have
Yes.
friends who were studying South Africa.
I've studied with Botswana like that before. So
Exactly, government funded projects for people to go study overseas, because they know in our country, in their universities, for
no,
example,
well funded, by the way, well funded,
well funded, one of the best
living
in the country.
comfortably in when I was like having to would do this part-time job to pay some of the things I had to pay. They didn't have to. So
Exactly.
yeah, sorry.
Exactly, and you remember what they did with their diamonds? They went into a joint venture with De Beers, which is the
Yes.
biggest diamond company, or one of the biggest. So it's owned by Anglo American now. So what they did was they're using some of their funds to develop their own people. They know that they're a small country, they don't have all the trades, all the skills and whatnot. But instead, we invest in our people. We take them to the nations that have those skills, for those people to go there. Even if somebody's in the States, South Africa, wherever country they are learning and coming back home to say, at least we have an astronaut, we have so much pilots in this program that we did for this year. They can show, some of the people can say, my government paid for me. I went overseas. I had an apartment paid up. There's no stress. And the one of the things that we were also talking about in education, the psychological effects about the white child and the black child in South Africa, for example, how the struggles are different. For
Yes.
example, most of us as black people were the first generation to go to universities, to have higher education, masters, and all those things. But you look at how, like, let's say going to school, like when you go to university, if you go to some of the universities here, you'll see in the parking lot, you'll see most of the kids that have cars. It's either you come from a middle class home or a rich family, or you obviously you are maybe a person of color, you know.
Mm.
So for us, some of the people who are using trains. They're living in places that are far off from the universities. For them, they're coming with either taxis or the train. So the
Like
stress levels
FBK.
are not the same. Are not the same. For example, if
Mm.
you, like, after class, for example, let's say you have your last class ends at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, your last class. That person, all they do is they're going to their car, start their car, go to their rest or their apartment or wherever they're staying. But for the
Mhm.
other black child, the black child still needs to think, oh, there's a bus, then the bus comes, maybe you knock off at 4, your bus only comes at 5. So
So you have to
imagine that
wait for 30
1 hour,
minutes.
you're already tired. Yeah, those are the
Mm.
different challenges of
That
different
30 minutes
people.
you could use to do homeworks or assignments or even rest, relax, or eat your food is lost like that.
Exactly, exactly. Also, the challenges like that, where they also psychologically affect and drain other kids. But others
Yeah.
make it, they persevere and make it. But one of the things that I just wanted to highlight, I know we want to close now soon, is us now, as we are trying to figure out things. We need to also figure out how we can come up with solutions that are going to help us, because every, like, with all our diverse regions, environments, and whatnot, we need to come up with ways that will say, even if it's proposals that we need to write
I
and
w-
just look at the
yeah.
structure and the
I have a
environment.
proposal, by the way. I have a proposal. If you guys
You
give
know,
me a chance, give me 2-3 minutes. Can you put up the image that I sent to you? I don't know if Mika can do. I know you are tired, exhausted, but I will make it quick for you guys. This is answers some of the most
This
important questions Israel just asked. Okay,
how
so
of
this here,
course.
this is a practice document, a framework that we developed for our school in answering some of these issues that you're talking about. The essential, like at the core of this, what you see here, at the core of what you see here, what is the goal? Is to achieve a liberated child. Liberate. We have to liberate. Education has to liberate the person, has to humanize the person. So here, so the essence of what you see here is like, how do you resolve the education crisis in Africa? We have to think about, like, how do you liberate that child that is one day going to figure out the issue of finding resources for educating many more, or how do I liberate that child that's going to figure out the AIs that fits the AI, the machine learning or AI technology that is suitable for the context within which they find themselves. Before you ask a learner or the educated person to be in the foot in the shoes of resolving, leading the way, first they have to find a way to find their humanity and liberate them. So we developed these things in our school, and it was very successful for our school. So the essentials of it can be divided into two parts of what I started at the beginning. The first part of it is the philosophy and the grounding and the context within which educations. We call that a locally robust and globally connected education. Locally robust, globally connected. It means it needs to be contextual. I don't want to teach chemistry for a child that they don't find any connection to it in their community. What are the things in their community that is related to the study of chemistry in the classroom? So I'm still teaching the same modern educations, but I'm contextualizing and localizing the content so that they have a sense of connection to it. So the African ontology and the Ethiopian philosophy that you see here is the one that answers the what's and the why of the question of educations. And then the second part, which is institutional values And the thing that you see what's called interact, reflect, and become, we call them catalysts. The catalyst is the thing, the enzymes that get the things done for you. So institutional values, and then the second part of the second part is broken up into three parts: institutional values, the catalyst that you see in the middle, and then the institutional practice, that's daily active operations of the things. And then what is the outcome at the end of it? A full human, a fully expressed human being is what the goal of the education is. That could be somebody who's as an astrophysicist, I don't care, but that person is a human. That could be another person, could be a writer. That's a human. That humanity is the thing that drives. So this is a suggestion that I have for people. You can localize these solutions right here. So localize educations, whatever education that somebody is imposing you. Ask the question: how do I localize it? So, for example, a lot of you know injera. Injera is one incredible thing that for a lot of Ethiopians and a lot of Africans, a lot of people who eat Ethiopian food know injera is at the heart of it. It's a circular bread. Okay, there's chemistry to it, there's physics to it, there's geometry to it. So we use the knowledge. So a study of injera, the study of injera in chemistry class, in biology class, in math class, physics class, in social special need class. Because we have to integrate people of different needs as well in the education system, and then all across the board of education across the school is happening. So we are achieving what? The African ontology part, which is context, and African philosophy, Ethiopian philosophy part, context, and then the practice part, which is like, I want the person to understand what bonding is. I want the student, which is a chemistry concept. I want the person to understand, entropy. I want the person to understand, algebra or geometry. So what we do is that we embed this essence of Africanness and Ethiopianness in the very practice of your educations, without necessarily changing the education system, embedding it and allowing the child to grow from it, to become a human being, to have a sense of self, a sense of duty, and a sense of value that is armed with real knowledge. So it's not enough to have values, but it's armed. You're arming the person to be, okay, I'm passionate about Africa, but I know how to implement this passion. I want to code. I want to start a One Africa. I want to create. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to go out there and transform education system. I want to go out there and create industries. I want to strategize, re-innovate, or reimagine our tech sector in our community, so that it reflects on the values and the context within which we find ourselves. That is a person that's going to go out there and resolve the things that we are struggling to resolve. Am I making sense though? All of this, all of this. I don't know. I hope I'm making sense. But to the best of my ability, this is the practice. It worked, and that school that I helped build today is still producing some of the best leaders out there. Right away, it's instant. Today in my morning sessions, one of the sessions was done by one of my former students in the school. He's working for Facebook, but he's working for Facebook. He went to Duke University, working for Facebook, but volunteering to educate other Ethiopians to learn how to code, and not just only how to code, be leaders in the community on computer coding and computer programming, be entrepreneurs, learn how to code, but use it for entrepreneurship for resolving problems, for identifying problems in the community and resolving the problems and cashing in on it and creating new opportunities and innovations.
Wow, that's well said.
We should have
this is the second time.
part 2 for it. No, I was saying this. I think we should have a part 2 of this.
There's a part to it. Definitely is another part.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think, guys? The social media part, which is, I think, is a very important topic. According to me, at least, I think it needs a time to be
We are in it. We are in it. We are on a platform that is the social media, right? So that's why it's important.
No,
No,
yeah, of
that's why.
course. No,
I'm
no,
just
I
adding
mean,
to. I'm adding to the importance of what you're saying.
yeah,
What you said,
yeah, of course, yeah. If we look in that way, but I think it's important to be named or mentioned, because as I already mentioned, that it's keeping our people, or around the world busy. It's keeping them busy, because we are busy. We are doing stuff that we are spending our time, our very much valuable time, to scroll down and read messages and look stuff that we
Do you
should
know
have
that that's the
been.
goal? That's the goal of the social media companies. That they want
Yeah.
you to.
I
It's
know.
called. We call it the attention economy. An economic term is the attention economy. So the longer somebody, the metrics. I'm sure Mika knows this better than we do because they send the metrics on the number of people who are paying attention, impression, how long they're staying, and then that is the thing that Twitter goes when they sell it to advertisers. They say, "Oh, my audience stays 5 minutes longer than a social Facebook audience, so I'm going to charge you 20% more if you don't because you're going to get more people who are going to pay attention, and you can place adverts. So once somebody pays attention, you place adverts. So so the algorithm they develop in social media, it is the result of that. It's working. And then the suggestion I made about education is about breaking that. So the more human somebody is, the more critical they are. Humanizing the person is allowing the person to have the ability to judge and make judgments, because making judgments is the essence of who you are. But what's education system that we go through is trying to strip you of that. It's trying to
Humanize
strip
us.
you of all of that. So dehumanize, they call it dehumanization process. So so social media, you see the scrolling, the attention, so how do you break that up? It's not by banning social media, it's by empowering that user. Say, you know what, I could be spending on creating something that other people can scroll instead of me scrolling. So instead of me scrolling on Twitter, I'm here with Mika on another social media, pushing somebody else to scroll like this. And that's, you flip the script a little bit up and say, I'll use social media. Like, for example, social media is informing Ethiopians on what is a lie, what is the truth. And if it was 10 years ago, Ethiopians probably will be overtaken by the lie, because we don't have social media 10 years ago like this in Ethiopia. And the rebel forces say use a Syrian video, the downing of a plane in Syria, and put it on Twitter, on Facebook, and say, "Oh, we just took down a plane from the Ethiopian Defense Forces," and then somebody just quickly Google it, finds out that was a stolen video from another time and another place, and right away puts this up on social media, and then and then we could see fake and real, not fake. So we are using social media right now. So somebody's flipping the script here. You're supposed to be stuck on social media buying stuff. Instead, you're flipping the script and say, I'm using social media to inform somebody, to educate somebody. So I think it's a very good topic, and it's a big topic to cover, by the way.
Yeah. I think it depends on the way you use it, and it's either negative or positive. Like you can have your own business. You can do a business, or you can waste your time. So it depends on the way you use it. Like, for example, I work 9 to 5 from Monday to Friday, and then Sunday and Saturday I work at home. Like right now I'm sitting here. If you can see here, this is what I am working on. So
That's so.
I don't even have it. Yeah, I don't even have a TV. So I you can either
Forex.
No, this is not a forex, Mr. Foster. This is I don't
It looks like stock.
We're thinking it's beeps there. The beeps.
Yeah.
The peeps. No. I was into forex before, but now I'm into cryptocurrency and Bitcoin.
Nice.
It's much better because I know a lot of South Africans who do forex, and like DJ Coach, if you know him, and
Yeah, I know him. I know him. I know him.
Ref Wayne.
Wayne as well. Yeah, I know a couple of popular forex guys that are legit. You know, there's the legit, and there are those who sell an image nowadays. There's but
No
yeah,
one is legit.
It's a topic, Mr. Adby, that we need to do about forex in Africa. And yeah, it's also another topic.
I can give you. I can give you a tip that you don't need anyone to teach you how to trade. You don't even need to trade to make money from the internet or to make money from cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. You don't need to pay money.
Abdi, I sent something on the private chat video. It's a Somali kid that I follow. I don't understand his language, but he's doing an incredible job on social media. I think he makes good money. But what he does is that he goes around different parts of Somalia and Ethiopia and then share stories about the life and the conditions of Somali. Very good image of it. I don't understand the words that he said because I don't speak Somali. But when I watch the video, I find it entertaining and incredible. I can relate with it. So I mean, it was one of my favorite YouTubers out there using the platform, the social media platform, to do something good. And check him out. I'm sure you probably know him. But check him out. It's in the private chat. Just check him out.
He's from Hargeisa. We can follow Twitter each other. I can write here my Twitter. It's Philly EGLD. And
okay.
EGLD. I follow the Swahili nation on. Yeah. So what I was saying is that you don't need anyone to teach you how to trade. They teach you indicators, trend lines, Fibonacci and stuff, like just tools, and then they take money from you. So you don't need that. You just need to buy some coins. But before buying those coins, you research the team behind the project. If it's a good project, you buy them, you hold them like 6 months or 1 year, and then come back. Then you are rich. That's how it goes.
If I may interject there, the classes, the forex classes, I know it's going to be a topic for another day, Mika. The forex classes is also a way to make money. If you understand the indicators, you understand the charts, it's easy. Anyone can now start classes and say, hey, I'm offering classes. Then, I post there in front of a Mac, I just rent the car and take pictures. And then I present myself as a trader, and I'm a teacher. And then the seminars, you know how many seminars are happening currently, online, physically now, and for me to tutor people, it's money. I might not be full time, but just for me to tutor money. And if I'm saying per class, I'm charging $100, it's money. Imagine if you are trending properly in online, or you've got a nice profile, you've got a nice package, that maybe you've got a week, and you'll say maybe every Saturday you're offering classes, either online, the people joining online and people that are coming physically. You know how many people are coming? You find that in a class you're having 50 people or even more. The other guys that you mentioned, they are drawing attention. They've been in it like with every a trend, there are people who moved into the trend first, and then they are ahead of other people. Hence, they can draw the numbers. If they are saying, I'm bringing a class, that person can draw like 10,000 people worldwide just on one session. And how much money did they make? Just on tutoring. He's not even talking about his life account, whatever. Just tutoring only. He has so much money within one session only.
Yes.
But anyway, we'll have a topic about this.
Before we go, I know, Mika, you are desperate to go. I just saw something on the chat room, a question about educations. I think from Elena.
I think you answered that. I saw that question and I want to tell you, but when you were answering, I thought you saw it because he was asking about that thing.
Yeah. The question was, at what age
Yes.
should we make our child focus on? Just the right away questions is that, like, think of raising your child to be a free spirited, because like there's God given inherent qualities that they have. Your job as a parent is to make sure they reach that. Reach that. Children struggle to figure and navigate that. So schools, make sure your schools are make sure where your child goes is, it's not, don't worry about it being all rounded. Leave that assignment to the child. Being all rounded and that kind of thing, leave it to the child. They already have inherent qualities to achieve that. But our goals as educators and as communities and as parents is to make sure that child has all the opportunities they need to get there. So that's the answer.
Okay,
Bro,
just it's something there.
Before
Sorry,
we go,
okay.
and sorry, I wanna go
Hey.
to. You don't need indicators. You don't need trend line. You don't need Fibonacci. All those stuff I have been learning since 2019. You know, and I have spent thousands of dollars just learning from whites, from blacks, from Africans, from Europeans, from whatever. So I am tired of that, and then, but you're just,
That's why it's not for everyone. That's what I always say, it's
you
not
seem
for
to be a legend too. You have lost a lot of money, I guess.
Abdi, we want you to come here regularly. We want you to come here
Please.
regularly.
I'll come.
Okay.
I'll come.
Because of that.
Okay.
Because
if it's
of that.
If it's a weekend, I'll come.
So because of that, we will make sure on weekends like this, this topic will be at the forefront, because our goal is to make 1.3 billion Africans the platform, and 1.3 billion ideas the platform, 1.3 billion personalities in humanity the platform. So we expect a million ideas to come here, million ideas, and we will. But time and space matters, so we'll give time and space for them. But I appreciate that, and I just want to make sure, because I know. Look, me, I'm at the beginning of my energy. I'm at the beginning of my energy because I'm in California. I'm 11 hours away from Mika, and 10 hours away from from Israel. So I can do this longer, but they've been doing this the whole day. So I don't want to hold them a little bit any longer than they should be. So
no, South Africans don't sleep, bro. They don't sleep in South Africa. I know. I
we don't sleep here.
We will
in Tanzania
come
they
back.
do.
We wanna be effective as well. So, I mean, tomorrow you say you can make it on weekend, Abdi?
Yes. Yeah, I can make it on weekends. I follow you on Twitter.
Okay.
And
because that can be a really good topic if you can come and together and share. I don't know, you guys, what you think about. I don't know if tomorrow is too soon, or what do you guys think about tomorrow, Professor Isla?
I'm good. I'm cool with timeline. I think but I think to me, the most pressing issue for Africans should be at the top of what we do. The most pressing issues. We need to always follow the vibrations that is present. That vibration gives you an idea of how, because it's like
exactly
like if you are what do you call the surfer. Surfer. If you are a surfer, you go for what appears to be the most dangerous surfer, but you have to surf with it. You don't fight with it. So the waves that we are experiencing across Africa right now should be the one that should dictate the course
exactly.
So then we can accelerate and catalyze process. Our job is to catalyze the process so that unity can come faster. Love comes faster. Peace comes faster. Our job is not to bring peace, love, and unity. Our job is to catalyze the process, and that's what we do.
To be a catalyst of change. I was actually thinking about the same. That's why before I mentioned that, how can we connect this this education and unity, because the web that is going on right now and what's going on right now, that's the reason why I stopped even doing reaction, because I usually do reaction, but I stopped doing reaction because I feel like this is very important matter, and I think we have to talk as many times as we can, because there's so many lies there on the social media
Yes.
and Western media and everything. So the best thing I can do, because we don't have like a lot of people, I mean, a lot of channels that they talk about this stuff. So the best thing we can do is talk about it again and again and again and again and again, so that that message can be
Yes.
rotating and on YouTube like all the time and on social media.
Yes.
So I think that's
The more
that's a good.
the more liberated somebody is, the more
Yeah.
liberated somebody is, the
Yeah.
more likely they're gonna appreciate unity.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and an education that liberates is the reason I push education that liberates is because I have experienced, children, learners transform from just being just numbers and an account to people, individuals that are desperate to express their passion, to express what they aspire, and to find journeys that really sings to that. So our journey is love. Our journey is unity, is toward those things. But we need to get our people to be free of all the burdens of being dehumanized. And then education plays a key part of humanization. And I am at the heart. So I haven't answered all the issues around the ideas I suggested. There's so many issues that, because it's too much dumping. I don't want to dump too much here. I've tried to succinctly, clearly, but the linkage here that we want to free people up so that they can exercise their natural tendencies. So you are free, and now you're exercising your natural tendency. And your natural tendency is for love, for peace, and for unity. We're not asking for something that is a strange idea, a strange notion here. We are asking people to follow something that's natural to them, but because they are disconnected from that due to dehumanization of education system, a dehumanizing education system, what we are doing is let's humanize. And humanizing people, it's a concept. I just gave you an example of how you could operationalize it earlier. The example I gave you, how do you operationalize it? How do you make it practical? How do you turn that practical on a daily practices so that you don't feel like, it's an idea that's too far away from me? It's not. It's an idea that feels too far away because ideas are far away. But when you put ideas on the ground, they appear this way. Practice them differently. So anyways, hopefully that helps you understand what way we are linking education here. I hope that helps.
I just see Paul Kagame visited Ethiopia, and that shows the unity of Africa, and I think that's a good thing. But I just wanna leave you guys, and we can decide the time.
I don't know, Abdi. We'll definitely figure out about that. It's definitely fine. We don't have to keep discussing about that right now, but we'll definitely figure that out. Because tomorrow we're gonna be coming back for something else. Also share your
GoFundMe. GoFundMe.
Yeah, Ezra will share about that soon. But you can share your email in the private chat. Ezra just ask the email. You can share there. So we're gonna keep talking about this. And is this your business, Abdi? Because if this is your business, then we have to talk business.
Yeah, it's my business. It's my plan for the.
Are you making a lot of money? So if you're making a lot of money, we will too.
I am making money as we speak.
Because I'm thinking I was thinking maybe Abdi he wanna advertise his business right here. So if he start, then we have. I'm not
selling anything. I'm not selling anything. I'm here to just give you
your experience.
Yeah, just to tell you that how easy it is. Like. But I'm not making any money from anyone. I'm not going to take money from people. I don't even need that. I'm not saying I'm rich enough, but I know I'm gonna be rich. Yeah, and I know the way to be rich. I'm on the way. Like it's as easy as that.
We got the name for you.
Yeah,
Entrepreneur Abdi.
Become millionaires.
That is our name for you.
In 2 years, 3 years. So the money's out there. The platforms are out there. The ideas are out there. You don't need to have a lot of capital or thousands of dollars. You just need patience. Don't sell your coins. Buy them. Wait. Before you buy, research. Good budget. The team that's behind this project is reliable. Are they related into NFTs? If you guys know what NFTs are, gaming, And it's not only Bitcoin. There are hundreds of thousands of projects. Some people are mentioning ADA, Cardano, which is one of the biggest in terms of market cap, and it's billions of dollars. But I think, according to me, it's overrated. It's never gonna make $10 ever. It's impossible in terms of its own supply. And anyway, I think if you have the time tomorrow, I'm gonna meet my girl tomorrow, so I think it's gonna be tight. But I can
let's
manage
do it next week. Let's do it next weekend.
Let's do it next week, because we
next
always say
weekend
that
it's not urgent, so we can do next weekend. Definitely.
But I'm not selling any course. I'm not selling. I don't even teach. I'm not going to teach. But for me, I think we can make 100 Africans who are millionaires who live in Africa every month. That's that's how easy it is. You know what I mean? Because I know Africans who live in Africa are more rich than
prepare a
me.
presentation. Entrepreneur Abdi, prepare a presentation for us for at least some materials for us for next weekend, and we will be like keenly. A lot of people will promote it throughout the week, so that people can come and listen to you, and we will have that possibility of 100 a week, kind of 100 a week of Africans to follow suit in the ideas that you're suggesting, and if it works for them, then we'll prove that this is a great idea. So
of course, there are a lot of Africans who are making a lot of money than I do.
So can we get the next step? Sorry.
Of course.
I'm desperate to get Mika to go to bed.
Mika is very tired. I see.
No. I'm desperate because I want you to be energized, and I believe in sleep. I told you about a book I read, Brain Rules. The book about brain rules.
Exactly.
Sleep is a huge chapter in there, and so sleeping is a key component of brain and mental health management. So
sleeping is overrated, by the way. I don't sleep more than 5 hours a day, so
because that's in nature. Everybody's nature is different.
That's why
some people have different natures. Some people have to sleep 11 hours, so some people can sleep 4 hours. So
I don't do that.
So different neurologies. Neurologies.
5. We are 5.
I'm the 5 too. But some people are 8 hours.
It doesn't matter if you sleep it or not.
You look like you sleep for 12
hours.
No,
the brain has a structural process for sleep. Even in fact, some people late sleepers, late wakers. So different people have different. This is a whole chapter. If you want to read about a lot more about this great book, it's called Brain Rules. It's out there available.
You guys got. I want to say my brother from South Africa. South Africa is one of my favorite countries. Actually, I listen to South African music. I was just listening to South African music, and I follow South African politics a lot. And
that's why you're an African. That's why we call you African.
South African.
No, but you're from Somalia, interested in South Africa. I think you think, Abdi, you are unique on that one. It's normal for a lot of Africans like that.
Yeah, I know a lot of things about South Africa. Like Mulema is one of my favorite politicians, African politicians. He's Africanness. I
crazy
like
guy.
It, and I hope
he's a crazy guy. He's like the guy who just reshuffle the card all the time for you. Disrupt.
But he
disrupt the force.
He tells the truth, so that's why I like him. And I follow a lot of forex traders from South Africa, and I really love their music. So Tanzania too is also one of my favorite countries. I speak Swahili, and Ali Kiba is my favorite musician. I don't rate this guy they call what's his name? Zimba. Mi sipendi huyu bana.
Diamond? Is that Diamond?
Mtu wangu, Diamond, I don't like him. Mtu wangu ni Ali Kiba. I like Ali Kiba. Legendary.
That's Simba right there.
But Simba has held the flag, guys.
You talk like an African.
Internationally,
exactly.
it's not the flag for Tanzania.
Yeah.
People they know him more than they know Tanzania.
Abdi,
That's how
Exactly.
famous he is.
they
Yeah.
say this is like if if it smells like one, acts like one, it has to be like one. If you you look African, you act African, you love African stuff, be it South African, Tanzanian, then you must be African. That's the
I am
point.
African. I
Yes.
am
This guy is
100%
African.
So
And
like
by the
your
way,
behavior, the way you describe Tanzania, the fact that you know the language, the way you describe South Africa, is I can tell you, I can have so many Africans that are like that. And
Abdi
that's
is
why we have to come
African.
together as one because our nature is like that. It's in our DNA.
Everybody here is
Mika.
African. You can tell because you guys you talk too much. Yeah.
Mika,
Yeah.
Yes,
do you know you make reactions of especially Somali songs? So I know a guy. I really don't know him. He's my mate. We used to live in the same village. He used to play football when we were young, but he's very famous now. I don't know if you know him, Hassan Gantal.
Hassan Gantal?
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta send me the link. Maybe I've done reaction for him because
You
I do
did,
reaction.
no, you did. You did it. You did a lot of times.
Okay.
If you go back to YouTube channel, he's a big name in even in Kenya, not only in Somalia and Ethiopia. He's a big personality. Almost 600,000 followers on Instagram. He's my mate actually. But for me, I am not into music. I'm into business.
Okay.
So,
let's do the GoFundMe.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, for family everywhere connecting. As we know, we've started a GoFundMe project for Mika to travel to Ethiopia as a first start. He's going to the headquarters of Africa.
I'm
Going
gonna
to
film
the
some
capital
video
of
there.
Africa. Addis, to be exact.
I gotta make my fellow African speech in front of headquarters of African Union.
Wow.
This
You
is
like
cool.
fellow Africans, lend me your ears.
Amen to that,
Yeah.
So
is this on Twitter? Can I get this on Twitter as well?
Yeah, it's actually
Twitter.
Yeah.
I've also just shared the link now. I don't know if you saw.
I just shared the link in the comment section as well.
Yeah. Also share it on the private chat as well. You can just add it there.
Oh, I'll share on Twitter. I'll share on Twitter right now.
Yeah, Twitter. Yeah, that's gonna be easier,
So family, we are busy trying to fund the project for Mika to go to Ethiopia. So this is just a project that was created by our sister Netsi. She was in today on our live show. The only lady that joined today during our date live service. And then this is just a GoFundMe project. This includes obviously the flights, the hotels, the travels in terms of the transportation, food, and obviously certain places might need money for him to enter and show us when he's there. So he has a lot of work, and we're trying to make it as easy for him as he's going to Ethiopia. So feel free to donate anything that you feel that is in your heart or is in your pocket, that you feel that you want to be part of this. As you're pledging anything, you are also being part of the journey with him, because you're not putting the money into something that is not going to be beneficial. You will have visuals of what's happening there. You will have visuals of things to do there. People he'll be interviewing that side. So feel free to join the GoFundMe and contribute anything that you feel like you want to contribute. And again, if somebody has any resource that you wanna that you feel that you wanna also contribute, be it a camera, a tripod, a microphone, transport when he's in Ethiopia, feel free to do that. And again, you can also just, if you've got inquiries regarding this trip, or you've got inquiries about certain things that you feel that maybe you've got a camera and a DLSR camera that you want to, or camcorder that you want to donate, feel free to send us an email on Swahili Nation Official at gmail.com. And then for any inquiries, if you've got questions or you've got some of the things, maybe you don't want to put in money, but you feel that no, I want to bless this project, this vision, with any resource, any tool, whether it's a chair, whether it's a software, editing software, you've got a license that you feel that you want to just bless the channel for editing purposes, feel free to do that. So you can also just email to swahilinationofficial@gmail.com, and then
Can I add
you
that
can add
editing
something.
part?
Feel free.
Yeah,
now.
editing part. I can tell you a very affordable, which is on. It's on. Wait a minute. I'll send you a link. It's like a Skillshare. You know Skillshare, yeah?
I know Skillshare, yeah.
Yeah, it's a company like Skillshare, but it's a bit cheaper, So you can get a course which is editing as cheap as $9 or $12. The whole thing, you just pay once. So, and it's from A to Z, all the program. If you want Java, whatever it is,
Yeah. So if anyone wants to help with the subscription as well, or what you just suggested on Skillshare, or any platform that is out there, feel free to, if you wanna do a subscription for us. And then since most of this, some of those softwares, they also go on a month-to-month, or you can pay a 12-month, or you can buy a 12 months
No,
package.
you just pay once. You just buy.
Is it a once-off fee? Wow, okay, that's even much better, But if there's somebody
you just buy once, and it's $12, as cheap as $12.
Yeah, if somebody has a $12, they want to just they've got options, or they want to just share with us in terms of how we can go about it, feel free to contact us on swahilinationofficial@gmail.com, and then we can have a look at it and see whether it's a viable tool for the channel, because that's also, we need to see something that will be compatible with the channel, because those are also the technicalities sometimes about any platform you jump into. So hence I said, any resource, any suggestion, you can contact us on swahilinationofficial@gmail.com, or you can go to the GoFundMe link, and then just share with us, contribute anything, whether it's $1, whether it's $2 million, whether it's whatever you feel that you are.
$3 million.
3 million, 5 million, I think we're going to run an auction very soon. We'll be doing an auction very soon, So we'll be running an auction, and say cameras, auction for cameras. Who's contributing cameras? Yeah, then somebody Abdi will say, no, I'm buying Rode microphones. His Excellency Prof. Ezra there might say, hey, I'm sending lenses, camera lenses, or something.
It's like you are born to do this.
Guys, it's never gonna end. It's never gonna end. I am very, very grateful to be here to talk to people around the world. All those guys who are, I am reading your comments here. Thank you very much for commenting nicely and
Yes.
taking part, watching us and listening to us all this long time. It's like 3 hours and 5 minutes. So thank you for having me second time, today, Swahili Nation. I'm really grateful, and I'm happy to talk to my brother from South Africa, Ezra, Pastor Ezra, and my brother, who is very, 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 I think very smart. I think his IQ is actually, they lied about African IQs.
You got that right. You got that right.
Brother,
You better take that back.
I can't show
Yeah,
my face to
I have to be
no.
considered to
Praise
yeah.
to the Creator, the Almighty God and Allah
Yes,
for that. It's not
now you
I
are
don't
talking,
own
my
any of
brother.
that. We yeah.
Yeah, my country mate, I'm very happy to talk to you as well. You know, shout out to the States, shout out to Tanzania, shout out to South Africa and
Shout out to
whole of African
Somalia.
continent. Peace and love. I'm going to try to, you know,
Unity.
to take part our
Yeah.
Africanness and Africa united as
Yeah.
we go forward, and we link up, guys.
Yeah.
One love and peace.
One
One
love.
love, brother. We need your insight. So
Unity.
see you soon.
Wakanda, guys. Yeah, I'm in, bro.
Love you,
So one
brother.
Hey,
Love
Africa,
you, brother.
guys,
Wakanda, one
I
Africa.
hey, we want I want Ezra also going to Ethiopia. If, he has my name, so he has my name as well. So I want
Yeah, hey,
Ezra to go.
perfect, you
I
know?
think like if the Ethiopian Airlines comes through for you, Mika, I think the second ticket you need to buy is for Ezra.
I was yeah,
I'm
actually. No, let me tell you
desperate.
something.
I'm
Let me tell you
desperate to
something,
take
Ezra.
Ezra.
Yesterday I was talking to Ezra. Yesterday we talked, right? That's I told Ezra yesterday, about that. I feel I have the same feeling about this
Yes.
because Ezra, when he's in the room, like the atmosphere of the room change. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
Like when he speaks, that's why I thought maybe he sleeps for 12 hours a day because he has this different energy that I want to
That
get it, but I
energy
can't
is
get it.
incredible.
So
You need
he
that
has a special anointing.
calmness. You need
Exactly.
that calmness. It's a very rare one from all the South African I've ever met.
And also
That
he's
question.
really also he has some expertise, in
Oh yeah.
camera and all those kind of stuff. So
Yes.
this is the guy, is the
This is
guy.
the guy you want to be on the right side of you, on the front
Exactly.
of you, on the back
And
of you, because
he's a prayer
he's
warrior. What else
yeah.
do you need?
What else do you
You
need?
have
Guys,
everything.
What else do you need? I know it's like I know I'm so I'm desperate for that Ethiopian Airlines to work for you, so that if you have to buy a second ticket, if you have to buy
Yeah,
a ticket, then you don't have to you, at least you save some money here, and then you can use the other money for something else. And I'm
exactly.
sure Ethiopian Airlines can loop the two of you in as part of the deal, but if it's not possible, but I'm excited for the two of you to be in Ethiopia,
Exactly.
and
It's gonna be
my
amazing.
imagination and then my heart is the two of you going there,
Yes.
meeting Professor Kuru and all the other players in there, and who are like on the ground Swahili Nation members,
Mm-mm. Mm. Exactly. Amen to that. You're
amen to
going
that.
it.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Definitely going there. Yeah, family. That's just that for tonight. Feel free. The link is on the comment section. You guys can just comment. Go to the link. See, contribute, and not forgetting to subscribe to our channel. Subscribe, like, share, comment as other people are commenting. We know a lot of people just comment and forget that there's that button there. Please just subscribe. Let's subscribe. Let's subscribe. Let's support the channel, and let's get this channel growing. As this is the only African platform. Uh, 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 I know many people can say disclaimers, whatever, whatever. We are beyond that. This is one of the best channel in Africa that it's talking about
Amen
issues
to
that
that.
affect in Africa. Solutions in Africa, practical solutions. We are not just focusing on few things. We are putting on everything that's happening in Africa, and we are highlighting them, and we're speaking about them. We're bringing solutions to them, and this is the best in Africa at the moment. There's no one, and I
yeah.
dare challenge.
Mm.
You will see when we say challenge, others will start, but you know where it started.
Mm. Mm.
I'm telling you, there's the empirical evidence is too overwhelming to deny. It's just
Exactly.
it's right in your face, right there. You're actually seeing it
Mm.
happen. like how organized we are, how we've managed to mobilize in such a short period of time, Mika. I mean, then you've mobilized a force. I mean, like a force that's hard to reckon with. And I'm telling you, like it's incredible.
That is good. That is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
You know, we don't be saying, hey, I think email, I just made the special email for this. So I think I'll write it here. It's one, I'll send the password to you guys as well. One Africa, so that we may use this one. One Africa official at gmail.com, right? One Africa official at gmail.com. Yeah. So for everything related to this, guys, for everything that Pastor Ezra was sharing, you can use that email, and I'll send here in the private chat for you guys for One Africa official, so that we may have access.
Yeah, as you type that, I just want to say, if you just because I don't think we mentioned, I think EE is thank you for your super chat support. Yeah, he says laugh from Ethiopian, and we appreciate that very much. You support either in comments or super chats or even membership that you could sign up to, and your sharing and liking is as much equally powerful as things. And then of course going to the GoFundMe and then help this young man that you see at the top to go out there and do their job in the way we want them to do. We don't want BBC to pay them to do this. We want Africans to pay them to do this. Okay? So let Africans rise up and support your fellow Africans doing their job. And we want ladies in this forum now. More ladies. I know in the earlier conversation that you guys had, there were a number of people, women participants in the chat, at least. I don't know if the audio part, I don't know, but in the chat part, I noticed that. We want more of them to come in. Okay.
There was one girl, she was commenting like very strong opinion here. Even Abdi asked her to come, is Eldana, I believe is Eldana.
Yes.
So
Okay.
hopefully you guys will come, and more and just share, participate in the live streams for everybody. Just like
Yes.
Abdi came for the first time today in the afternoon, and he was incredible, and he came again right now, despite of his busy schedule. So yeah,
By the way, in a way of forum, like you don't have a TV station or like a huge, massive conglomerate, but in the way of a forum, this is the most open. Like dial-in, you're on the screen. The only problem that you have to deal with is your internet connections or your the logistics of that. Like I don't know of any platform that does it. Where like you can come in and respectfully and thoughtfully disagree with each other, and then also continue, because we are actually living that essence of love, peace, and unity. We love you. We want peace for you.
Exactly.
We want you to come together. This is essentially the manifestation. This forum is a manifestation of the big idea. And a very small microcosm level is happening here, but we're hoping for it to be scale up. So we start from the ground. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. It's been great. It's been a great show today, and learning. I think, as we said, we're gonna have a part 2. I don't know when, but Prof. Ezra, I think you'll have to prep that presentation again, and then
like what I'm thinking, like we need to have like one day that will come, and Prof. Ezra, he will just start sharing some light and wisdom about education, because he clearly have a lot of things to say. So on that day, we just leave a platform for him.
Can I say this? Like, I wanted to. One of the reasons I came to California was to turn education forward into a technology company in education, to innovate. But I'm stuck. Because I'm not a tech guy.
Yeah.
I haven't found partners that are like committed to being software engineers, machine learning experts that have something they believe they can contribute to education. I haven't found them, so I'm kind of stuck. So building the business entrepreneurship that I want to do, because I'm not naturally entrepreneur. I'm more like, I can operationalize educational stuff, but I cannot operationalize business because I'm not naturally predisposed toward material money. It's not my nature. So if it's not my nature, I'm not going to push it. So, but I'm hoping for a number of other partners that have those senses that I don't, and to take it to the next level. And in this conversation, I just want to put this out early on so that other people who are like, oh, you know what? I can help with this. I can help with this. If you have ideas, so the idea that I showed you earlier, that framework I told you, there's a whole bunch of curriculum behind it, a bunch of stuff that behind it. If you are looking for a way to implement it, I'm happy to collaborate with you. And so that kind of thing, education consulting and all of that, I'm happy to help.
Yeah.
If you have a school, or how can I implement this in our school, I'm happy to share that with you. Okay. Anyways, thank you so much, guys, for honoring me in this level, and I'll come prepared next time better. Why do I keep extending this conversation further and further?
That's what I realized. In OneAfricaForum, everybody in the team, they're very passionate about this. Like the people that it's like they have been holding things inside for many years, and now they have a time. now they can speak about it. So in the afternoon, you saw Netsi apologizing in the group that I'm sorry I took so much time, but I don't see that way. but it's just everybody. Kuru, Kuru, like everyone in the team, like they're very passionate about this, and I mean it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
The same. Ezra is the same. You're the only one who holds. I think you have a little bit of weight of, I'm a host, so you hold yourself a little bit. But when you're on a roll, you're like that too. When you're on a roll, you're like that. You're similar.
Eldana just commented. Eldana, I know you're out there. Please next time come, and next time means tomorrow. You can come and share your thoughts as well. We need more female to be involved in this as well. So we'd love to hear your view
Eldana
as well.
Africa. Eldana. It's a beautiful name. And then the Amharic version that you see there is written. So that's how you write Africa. In Amharic. By the way, Ethiopia has its own alphabet. So you see that? That's like Eldana is probably her name, but she added Africa and Amharic to it.
Wow!
But Africa, it's not Africa. Africa, Ka is like, it's a unique Amharic.
Is it Ka?
It's like the English don't have K. We don't have Ka in English.
Okay.
So Africa. We don't say Africa. And I love that. I love the fact that she used Elena. Thank you so much for using that.
Yeah,
I'm piling praise on Eldana so that she feels comfortable to come in. And even sometimes just be here.
You can actually come right now and say bye to us. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right.
I'm gonna just share the link quickly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
you have been
click on the link and come and say goodbye. Please.
Yes.
Please. Evakish. I beg you.
Farad Mohammed. No, I mean Africa.
Mpacho. That's Mpacho means in Ghanaian Chui. Please. Mpacho. Pacho. I'm speaking.
Guys, also on the side note, as we're waiting for Eldana, we're waiting for you. So we're not gonna stop until you come, until you show up. All right. The next week, I'm gonna have a surprise, and I don't wanna say, but we're gonna have a surprise next week. I'm working on something.
Oh my God!
Hopefully, we'll have a surprise. I know, Professor Ezra. I know you will love this, Professor Ezra, and Pastor Ezra too. I know you love this. We'll have a surprise.
Okay, that'll be awesome. Thank you. I look forward to it very much.
Finger crossed. Yeah.
Eldana, where are you, Eldana? Waiting for you. These guys need to go to bed. I don't need to. But they need to go to bed.
Exactly. And this guy right here,
I don't know. We're
Dink-
asking
Dinku.
that. We are asking this female right now. Sorry.
Yeah. Adineo Dinku, this guy I think is really smart. Even today in the afternoon he was
Oh,
here
brilliant.
commenting.
Exactly.
He was commenting a lot of
Brilliant.
positive comments. So Adineo Dinku, please next time try to come and to present your thought as well on the live stream. I really respect everything you say today, and he has really strong opinion. She said, "I need to go to bed." Could have just said good night to us. Anyway.
We have a promise. We're gonna keep it to the
Okay.
promise.
Okay. Now she needs to go to bed, right? Then tomorrow, Eldana, you need to come in earlier.
Yes.
So she must come in early tomorrow because she
Yeah.
says she needs to go to bed now. So
It's
today,
understandable.
excuse her for tonight,
Yeah,
but
and
tomorrow we're expecting her in.
exactly. And Winia is back. Winia, you remember Winia, guys? Winia, she came the other day and
Yes.
she was sharing, very passionate, and she wept a little bit. So Winia, we would have missed you. Come back and
Winnie, if you don't have to sleep, can you click on the link that was shared earlier and come in and represent Eldana for us?
yeah, and representing ladies squad. We'll have One Africa Forum ladies club or something.
Yes.
Yeah, but this is beautiful. This is beautiful.
Wow.
And I say like some of the reasons why we struggle in Africa is the absence of women in the dialogue and the discourse.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And like they hold half the population until like the minimum, half the population. But oftentimes you don't see them coming because it is essential because women have perspective that I cannot possibly recognize and appreciate.
Yeah,
It's not in my architecture. As it's not in our architecture to be able to do it. So we need women to be the voice and to lead us.
Yeah, actually, that's really. I'm surprised why Swahili Nation is more popular with men, because I'm a guy, right? But when you look at the majority of people audience, let me tell you the statistics here. Female is 38.6%, and male is 61.4%.
I was expecting worse, but it's a good foundation to start with. It can grow quickly, and
So I
it's
was really
about what?
wondering. I was like,
It's
am
about
I not
12%.
popular to ladies? What should I do? Should I start putting on
It's about
makeup or
12%. It's about 12%. Oh, makeup. I think we need to laugh a little bit more and enjoy our time more and be more more emotional and be more humble. I think proud women will respect it a little bit, but I don't know. But
you guys, you brought different energy, so maybe things will change now. Yeah.
no, but it's because the nature of African politics have been dominated by male, and then the nature of the world politics also dominated by male, and women will probably find it very. Some of the things that we seem to care about doesn't seem to be aligned with them, I think. But because we like, how am I going to be able to align an idea with what a woman in anywhere in the world feels and it relates to? Because I cannot, as a man, I cannot. It's difficult. It's just almost impossible. I can use my readings, my intellect, my ability to go past my limitation to understand and appreciate. I can pray for it to get there, but I would never get there. But a woman would just right there. It's almost instantaneous because it's just second nature. But we just need to, keep at it. We're just gonna keep talking about it, and before you know it, that 38% will be turned into the flip side. Will be 62%. So in our school, the school that I was running, the number some of the classes will have 82% women.
Wow. Wow.
82% women. Like, the early stage, we try to kind of push, 50-50 at least. But as we continue to build our school, the interest from women and the competency level from women is so high, you couldn't ignore it. So yeah, there are classrooms to 25 students, and I think like in a classroom there were about 18 of them women in that classroom, and then that classroom is one of the most successful classroom that we had, a cohort that we had. Every time I can prove it to you empirically, my experience, women involvement, the more women are involved, the more successful you're gonna be.
Of course.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Look at just even homes. Many homes where there's a mother inside a home, how it's run. But let's say you come to a home. Let's say now, me and Mika live in the same apartment, right? There'll be a difference. Let's
You're
say
gonna
it's
feel
me,
sorry for the
Mika, and
house.
there's a
Yeah.
lady, right?
You're gonna be like, is they're homeless living in here or human beings?
We just don't have that sensibility,
Don't have that.
If you want to understand complex problems,
Yeah.
you have to wear the woman hat. If you want to appreciate nuances, dealing with gray areas, most men or manly thinking is like black or white, dominate or be dominated, kill or be killed, be there or not be there. There's nothing in between. Almost like we have TPLF, we have to eliminate, or we have Abiy, we have to eliminate. That's not that's a man thinking. I think I have an enemy, eliminate. That's the very instinctive manly instinct. I'm not saying women don't have this. I'm sure because these characteristics you could be a man, have some of these female characteristics.
Yeah.
But that said, what I'm trying to say is when you have women in the discourse, what it does is it allows you to explore those things that are not easily perceivable for men. So we have a small budget. How do I make it work? That's how a woman thinks.
Yeah.
And then a man thinks, we have a small budget. We're going to be in crisis. I'm going to have to go and get more money. And that means I have to abandon my family more often, be there less often, be somewhere else more often. That's the kind of man. The woman will say, you know what? We have this. I don't want you to leave too much, but I still want you to go out there and hunt and make money, but I don't want you to leave too much because I need you to work at home too. That kind of complexity, they will get it. I think that's the thing I appreciate about women. Studying women for a long time in my experience as an educator, educating young women for a long time. Some of my favorite students I've had where they've taught me so much about this. I just sit there, my students teach me about this and educate me about these qualities, these nuances, these complexities that are not easy to comprehend. Anyways.
Yeah, I think I just got an idea. I think from now onward, every time I join OneAfricaForum, I would say, let's appreciate ladies in the house, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
So I think in that
Yes.
sense, maybe they will come
Yes.
more. Yeah,
Yes.
and maybe one day we'll come here and we'll talk about the role of women in our society. Because one of the very important thing is African women in a family. We're just talking
Yes.
about it here. I think one day we have to assign just to talk about that.
Yes.
So that
The role
you
of
know,
women in African society, the role of mothers in African society is so big,
Yes.
so important, right? By the
It
way,
is.
Nancy Natsanet, isn't she the one who figured this out?
She's the one
She's
who
the one who
lady,
studies this.
a woman.
you know, she made this everything, and then she shared the group, and everybody was quiet.
Yeah.
Men, you see that's men behavior, guys.
We want it solved. We want it solved. We don't want to go through the process of solving. We want it
But
solved.
I was surprised because the day when we came to share here, oh my goodness, ideas they came from nowhere. And man, I was wondering, I was like, why these guys were quiet? I thought maybe they didn't like the idea. I had no idea. So I was texting Nancy privately. I was like, oh yeah, okay. Until the boys reply this, we're gonna be able to do this. Yeah, let's just wait a little while. But you guys
I
really
kept
surprised.
quiet because I kept quiet. I mean, I have ideas and like on how to improve it.
Yeah.
But I kept quiet because that, like, will improve with suggesting my ideas improve this marginally like
Yeah.
difference. No, it doesn't make a difference because
Yeah.
she's really cracked the issue
Mm.
and figured out the problems and
Yeah.
then already suggested solutions. So
Yeah.
like, so what I was like, let's me wait to support.
Yeah.
As soon as it came out, support. You know what I mean?
We need more Netsy. You know.
More links.
Yeah.
I have a name for her. I think it should be the first lady of
The
One Africa
first
Forum.
lady.
First lady.
Exactly.
The first lady.
You know,
There's a problem with that.
Uh, that she might be.
The first lady is incredible,
Mm.
but the first lady is more like
Mm.
is slightly more like an appendix to something that is more potent, more powerful.
Yeah, I see. I see. Look at this guy. America messed you up.
yeah, thinking when there's a person
Thinking,
I can't
you
help it.
know,
Sorry.
when you go to black church here, when you talk about first
Yeah.
lady, she's more important than a pastor himself. When you go to the black church, she's like the
Yes.
machine. She's the engine. She's running like the house of the Lord. She's the one.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? She's the one that put all the decoration.
Oh.
The one organizing
Oh.
meeting with
I
women.
see.
She's the one doing this and that. Like she's like the real deal. And pastor he might
The
be just
person that
like
holds everything
yes,
together is that
everything.
she's about community, she's
Hmm.
about welfare, she
Yes.
knows everybody's deal issues and
Everybody.
characters, personalities. She
Exactly.
has
She's
indexes
always
of like
lovely. Like even
like
when pastor cannot connect with people, she's always there to connect and
yeah,
to calm things down a little bit. She's
yeah.
like
I see that.
that's my mom.
That's
That's my mom.
exactly what Nancy is right now.
Yeah.
At
Hmm.
least that's how I see. I have
Yeah.
come to experience it.
It's
Hey,
true.
hey, Nancy, we are not gossiping about you since this is live. Then you could possibly listen to it. We're not gossiping about you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, thank
That's
you. I don't know. Yeah, to the table, right? User experiences to boost discovery and motivation levels. Yeah, discovery and motivation level. That's incredible. Yeah, we want that.
yeah. Mm.
I don't know. Must join very soon, eh?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
been on the sideline so much. He's been the coach. We want the
Yeah.
coach to come in here and share
Mm.
some of that
Yeah.
knowledge.
And Abdi is still there watching. Shout out to Abdi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think this is the third topic for today. We talk about education, we went to money, and now women. Dang, we
Yeah.
we have a lot of things to talk about.
We don't have enough time to cover all of them. That's the problem,
Mm.
right? So
Yeah.
I think we should close with prayer, like as we started, right? So we did an incredible prayer at the beginning, Mika.
Yeah.
So we have pastor right now.
Yes, family. Okay, let me just last thing on before we go into prayer. Sorry about that, guys. To
That's okay.
add and
No
add
worries.
and add and add and add and add and add and add. So just for the guys that are maybe connecting later on, they just connected or they didn't see that post that we for any inquiries or any what do you call this? Any questions or any donations besides on the GoFund website, they can send their inquiries or whatever they feel that they need to contribute with on the resources side. On this website, the OneAfricaOfficial at gmail.com. And yeah, that was something that I just needed to quickly highlight before we go. Um, and yeah, the GoFund site is open. Go in there, contribute. and contribute and contribute. We are also contributors. We're not just talking, but we also need to lead by example.
Yes.
And yeah, that's about it for today with regards to the GoFund. So feel free to for any inquiries, post.
I think
Send an
the
email
thing
on
Isra, Isra, can we just acknowledge a few a few of the latest donors? Maybe acknowledge them. Maybe
Oh yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, I can
send their
quickly.
names.
And somebody just donated too a couple minutes ago.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
refresh the
It's
page, you see
Wow,
somebody
wow, wow,
donated $70 already.
wow, really?
Yeah.
big donors.
Wow, 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 wow. Look at this. Thank you to Mega Kemal, who just donated as well. And what's the other? Let me just put it this way. Mega Kemal just contributed now. Thank you very much. Menbera Tenkir, 19 hours ago, $50. Thank you very much. And guys, on this platform, you can also on the GoFundMe platform, you can also remain anonymous and not put your name. Like somebody contributed here and didn't want their name to be there. If you feel you're more sensitive about your privacy, you can also remain anonymous. You don't really need to put in your name on your surname. So thank you to Sarah Jambere. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your names and surnames. Yeah, you
I
know.
think your South African languages have prepared you to pronounce difficult names.
I think you can also could just say some of the names. Yeah, help me out there, Prof.
No, I want you to go to me.
Putting me on the hot fire, eh? They're gonna
Yeah,
correct me tomorrow.
He's
yeah.
from South Africa.
So I trust you. South African, your South Africanness allows you to pronounce difficult names that other part of the world would have difficulty.
So we've got Tadese Alamayehu.
Yeah, perfect.
And somebody also contributed anonymously $30. Yusuf Sisai, $15 and Adi Stefera, $100. Thank you very much to all the guys that are contributing. Johannes Mariam, $10. Shewaye Selassie, $50. And other people also decided to go for the anonymous route. Feel free if you feel that you want your name there, you're scared of your either work or privacy, you can contribute anonymously. You don't have to put your name. And there's a lot of people who anonymously did that as well. I think I also did an anonymous pledge, so feel free as well to do that. And yeah, so many guys. Thank you very much for the people that donated, that have been donating, and thank you for the people that donated today as well. Mega Kamale and Membera Tenkir. And
Yes.
yeah, thank you very much for the guys that have been donating. And also,
Yes.
as you donate, you can share this link
Yes.
as well on your social media platforms. You can
Please.
share on Facebook, Twitter, via email, even on your WhatsApp as well. On your
Even
WhatsApp.
if you don't donate, you can still go to this page and just share. Even if you're not able to donate, sometimes it might not be possible for you to donate, but you can share.
Exactly. You've got many platforms: Instagram, TikTok, all these major platforms that you can use to share the link as well. As Ezra said, Prof. Ezra said that even if you can't contribute, but you sharing, it's also been playing a part in this fund.
In fact, there's
So
more people who donated than shared.
yeah, most people didn't
Interesting.
share the link, eh?
Oh, yeah.
So to those who are
Okay.
online now, you can go into this link and then
Share.
just share
Yeah.
the website, the URL, yeah, the site
Yeah.
for this GoFund.
I think the
And
incredible thing that I think these ideas will come as we approach your, you get into to move on this opportunity, like where you get to go to Ethiopia. Some of the ideas would be like, some of the people that have been part of it, you get to meet them. You could have a
Yeah.
forum that is actually, that organizes people together in one place, and you could have the forum. So some of the ideas, or sometimes, there'll be a opportunity where people will have opportunity to have creative ways of how you want. What is your story of unity, peace, and love? And that will be something that we will come back to as we get closer to this, because we will be sharing your story. So imagine what we're doing in this, little box that you have. Imagine now we're doing it at scale. So you don't necessarily have to have, you can have, your own time, your own pace, your own camera in front of you, just recording what it means to have unity and peace and love for Africa and for your country, and sharing those contents will be part of the play moving ahead. I just wanted to really highlight those things for you guys.
Yeah, definitely. That's beautiful.
But I see Winnie saying something about what? Yeah, hello brothers. I was in and out today, but I will be join soon.
Yeah, joining you soon. Okay.
Yeah.
Soon, like today, or soon, like it could be tomorrow too.
Yeah, I believe she's talking about another day.
Yeah.
That's fine. We'll be waiting for that one.
That's fine. I wanted Abdi to, pray for us before he left, but he left early.
Yeah.
And he's still around. I know Abdi's still around as well.
But anyways.
Okay. Anyways, good show,
all right,
guys.
warriors.
Now, very close up.
I love this.
I think we can pray. I saw somebody saying, "Hey, pray." I think this person wants to go sleep now.
Say, please pray.
Like,
pray and leave. Pray and get out of here.
Get it done.
This is the truth. This is the true family member right here. You know,
Yes.
so I'm not leaving until you pray.
And now we need prayers.
I'm waiting. I'm watching the clock here. Like I'm waiting for you.
I've been saying about this maybe like 42 minutes ago. Now let's pray. All right.
Maybe his midnight prayers have started. So it's like, hey, these guys are delaying me. I need to start my midnight prayers now.
It's
2 a.m. in your end, so, and 1 a.m. and 1 a.m. in South Africa. So
I need to go to church tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay. 5 hours. 4 hours. You got 4 hours. Okay. Waiting for you, prayer now.
Whew, yeah, we can pray. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for this day, Lord, that you've blessed us with. Thank you for the unity that you've brought amongst us. We thank you, Father God, for the joy, for the peace. We thank you, Heavenly Father, for the thoughts and everyone that came to share their ideas. We thank you, Father God, that may you increase more of their wisdom in all that they do, Father. We pray, Lord God, that this knowledge will be impactful in Africa. To those who are listening and to those who will be listening even after their life is over. We pray, Heavenly Father, that you be with each and every person who's either connecting or who's also on the platform, Father God. We pray as we are going in different places, wherever we are, Lord, may we make an impact in our lives and in our families, and in all that we do, may bring glory to you, Lord. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, keep all our members, keep all those who are in this group, the OneAfricaForum. Father, keep them, preserve them, protect their life, Lord. Increase them in every area of their lives. In Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
Amen. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Till we meet again.
Yeah. I love you guys.
One Africa.
One Africa.
Good night, guys.
We're gonna find something cool. All right.
Cheers, guys.
Like,
People
cheers.
70 years old, they always do that. So we're gonna find something in our age.
Hey guys, look at this, guys. Look at the sorry, guys. Check this. Guess who just came in here? But
He's like,
Abdul,
are you guys still
that
here?
was
Abdul, we need Muslim prayer. We need
You know-
Muslim prayer. Abdul, we haven't had a Muslim prayer yet. You can no.
Therefore, I'll
Amen.
join you next time.
these are
Abdul is like, are you guys still here?
Yeah.
Hey.
Abdul,
We miss you,
we
man.
don't
We miss
sleep,
you.
man.
Yeah,
We
we
don't
miss
sleep.
you, Abdul.
Yeah, man. Awesome, guys.
Yeah.
Awesome family.
Okay, take care, guys. I love you guys. Better.
We love you
Good
too,
night.
man.
Bye
And
bye,
to
guys.
everyone, good night, and we love you everywhere. Everyone. Bye.
All right. You left too. All right. Bye bye, guys.